Hey everyone, you're listening to the official podcast of 4playernetwork.com. Check us out at that address for everything you need to know about our community, monthly giveaways, and nightly live streams. You can even support us on Patreon at patreon.com/4player. And last but not least, you can catch the live recordings of these podcasts every single Thursday night on our Twitch channel. We hope to see you there. Enjoy. Everybody, welcome to 4Player Podcast. This is episode 649. My name is Nick Henderson. I am joined tonight by Brad Simons.
Hello.
Nolan Hedstrom.
How's it going, everybody?
Christopher Guthridge.
Hello.
And Christopher Davis.
Good evening.
And we've got a pretty exciting show tonight, I think. It's a very exciting time to be playing video games. We're going to be talking at length about Ghost of Tsushima, which is something I think all of us here are playing it now, right? Chris Davis, you started it?
Oh yeah.
All right.
I'm probably further
Chris
along
Davis
than
is
anybody
farther
else.
than any of us.
Yeah.
So we're all balls deep in Ghost of Tsushima, so I think we're pretty excited to talk about that. We're also going to talk about Paper Mario, the Origami King, and today was Microsoft's big Xbox Games Showcase event, so there's some stuff to dive into there. But of course, before we get started, a couple bits of housekeeping I want to be sure to mention. We mentioned this on the last podcast we recorded, but it looks like August we are going to be doing a themed month on the stream. We're going to be playing and talking about nothing but games that came out in the year 2000. Because nothing... Somebody say it. Somebody do the thing.
Wait, what's the thing?
What thing?
I don't have a flashlight.
In the year 2000.
Oh.
I can't.
We need to have like a soundboard or something for the month of August.
My beard. It's so disgusting.
So yeah, we're gonna be focusing on nothing but games that came out 20 years ago in the year 2000. And we're gonna be making a post on the site this week that goes into details. We're gonna hash out our schedule and figure out how that's gonna work, but look out for details on that. I also would like to remind everybody discord.gg/4player. If you want to just hang out and talk about video games pretty much any day, all day, that's the place to be. We're there all the time. But
If you
before
want
we
to
get
get the stupid, senseless arguments with us, the
yes,
staff of 4Player, please.
we are always down to have stupid, senseless arguments with people, civil arguments with the with the community about video games. So before we get into it, obviously it's been about 2 weeks since we recorded our last podcast. Last week we opted to do a 4-player co-op night. We played Deep Rock Galactic, which was a lot of fun, right? Y'all had fun with that. I still want to go back and play more of that. Yeah, that was 7 days ago, actually,
Yeah.
Brad. That's how that works.
I enjoyed watching.
Yeah, I would like to go back and play more of that. So we did that last week. So I don't know if we'll talk about that on the show. We've had a few conversations about it, but it was a lot of fun. So it's been 2 weeks since the last regular show. I want to read some feedback from our last episode.
Deep Rock joke.
Okay.
Crispy enjoyed watching us play Deep Rock Galactic when he went back to check out the archive and saw what the rest of us were doing. Boom.
I don't get it.
And he was off on his own.
It was pretty, yeah.
What?
Consider me zinged.
Oh my goodness. Thanks, Brad. I don't even know where to go from there. You know what? I think we're considering the fact that, we don't play co-op games too often. I think we did a pretty admirable job.
Just messing around. In fact, I think that joke goes back to when me and Crispy were first playing Deep Rock. And I still have a lot of resentment over not getting to be the scout.
You chose.
But he alleges he wanted to be the engineer, but then yeah.
You seem to have really been enjoying your time as a driller.
Talk about it in the 4PP Discord.
You're just never happy.
No,
that's a fact.
That is
very
driller
true.
for life now.
Well, you seem to be pretty content as a driller. In fact, you were kind of the MVP of some of those missions because, drilling through rocks and shit.
That is the
Anyways,
name of the game.
Correct. Anyways, I want to read some feedback from our last episode. Again, the one from 2 weeks ago. Also, quick reminder: next week's show not going to be a regular show. We're getting into dangerous territory here, guys. We're going to have a full-on spoiler cast for The Last of Us Part 2. Cross your fingers. It's gonna
I already
be.
forgot all about that game.
It's gonna be interesting. You should go replay it. You have a whole week.
That came out this year?
Thankfully,
did.
there's no other games out right now I'd want to play.
I feel like
Right.
a million years ago.
So yeah, tune in next Thursday. That's the 30th of July. We're going to be talking about The Last of Us Part 2 in great spoilerific detail. But without further ado, let's get to some feedback. Drew327 says, and this is The Last of Us 2 related, I just wanted to say that I finished The Last of Us 2. I don't know where this comment's going to go. And while I appreciate Naughty Dog's commitment to feature a more diverse cast of characters, dang if I didn't just spend 30 hours murdering women and people of color. That's a really weird way to look at that. Like a really, really weird way to look at that game. Because it is a very diverse game. And there's a lot of representation in that game. That is like the complete opposite way I've heard anybody.
I think.
Yeah, you
I
get
think
to
they felt
murder
like
a
they were
whole
being
variety
more
of people.
inclusive, allowing you to murder women and people of color.
It's a game. It's a game featuring people of all of
shape, sizes.
I don't know about you guys,
everything.
but I only murdered white men.
Oh my god. Well, next comment. Slop Dog says, I have to agree with Crispy and Brad about the rumor about games going for $70 this generation. If AAA game development isn't sustainable, why is it on the consumer to keep that bubble from bursting? But like Brad said, I haven't paid full price for a game in years. I'm just waiting for sales and price drops and so forth.
Well, there is some decent news about that. That came out this week. So
the wording on the news you're referring to specifically from, I'm assuming the one from Ubisoft, where they talked about how games are not going to be, they're going to charge $60 for their games. They specifically said in 2020. Yeah, this fall. There's no guarantee.
Well, that's because they just saved a bunch of money because they don't have to pay some of their executives anymore.
Oh,
I thought you were going to go for the car insurance thing, but okay.
Nope.
No.
He definitely went for the more relevant, actual, topical discussion, which we're going to have later in the show. But yeah, you're right. I think there is an argument to be made either way. Game development is expensive, and it shouldn't be on the consumers and to take the brunt of or to pay for that unsustainable development cycle. But I don't know. No one's really said one way or the other whether this is going to happen or not. But Ubisoft has specifically just come out and said that games coming out this fall, they're not going to be charging $10 more for. So take that how you will.
I mean, if anything,
it's not an insane
confirmation.
It's not an insane concept to me that game prices would go up. Game prices have been $60 for what? I don't want to say 20 years now, but a fucking while.
15
but they
years.
just keep. I think it has
like 15 years.
15
and like obviously more goes into developing new engines and all this stuff. So I mean, like a fucking pack of gum doesn't cost a penny anymore. You know, prices go up over time. And don't get me wrong, I'm not itching to pay $70 for a game. But like that's not an insane concept, I guess.
I will say this. Do you think consumers would be okay continuing to pay $60 if it meant that just going forward, all developers didn't quite, because so many AAA games shoot for the sky in terms of like size and scope, and they keep trying to top, each other and whatnot. Like, would we be okay continuing to pay $60 if the scope of games gradually declined or stayed flat? You know what I mean? Like,
dude, I wish games were fucking smaller.
I did
like multiplayer mode right now.
Well, I mean, like, here's the thing. Sure, I mean, make a dedicated multiplayer game, make a dedicated single player game. Making both in one product can inflate the cost of development.
I think what's really galling about the whole thing is that we're being told that this sort of development pipeline requires so much money because they have to hire so many people to do so much work, and yet the end result is they're overworking the people that they are hiring. They're not paying them enough for what they're doing.
Crispy, the executives need the paycheck. Crispy,
they're basing their
and investors. Don't forget the investors.
Bonuses and their
they have to be able to pay off the sexual assault lawsuits, so they need the extra money up front. so they can take care of it.
It's like you're telling us to pay more money, but you're not fixing any of the things that you're citing as reasons as to why we need to pay that money.
I think about specifically, like, The Last of Us 2 is recent and topical, and everybody talks about that game in terms of its like scope and how long the game actually is. And I think to myself, we'll talk about this later, but personally, I remember playing that game and thinking, wow, this is incredible. I'm glad that they make a lot of decisions that they make. And I'm glad this game exists in the way that it does. But I'm thinking to myself, if they could have made that game half the size for for a much smaller cost, and let's just pretend this came out next generation and games were costing $70. If they had if you had to pay $70 to play The Last of Us Part 2, would people rather pay $60 and just have a game that was like half as long? Or and
maybe it doesn't need to be half as long. Maybe they didn't need 40 different toaster models. There's ways to make games cheaper.
You're right, and maybe developers are just kind of conditioned to, and I don't mean like the actual developers sitting there coding, and the people who are making the creative decisions at the higher levels are just conditioned to just kind of like, if you can do it, make it happen.
It's the problem of the prestige AAA game that keeps having to like up the ante and get bigger and crazier. And that's why Assassin's Creed 1 is 8 hours and Assassin's Creed Odyssey's 80 hours. This trend has just been going up and up and up. And the Last of Us developers were like, I guess we got to do a 40-hour game too.
But I also think about, like, because I've been listening to a lot of discussions about The Last of Us 2 in terms of just from a creative side of why certain decisions were being made. And I hear, you hear them talk a lot about how they approached the story that they wanted to tell. And it was almost like, this is kind of what's in our mind. This is what we want to accomplish. We can make it happen because our budget is so high and because the bar is so high for this level of development. It's kind of like, why not shoot for that? And it's almost like if they had aimed lower, it wouldn't have been necessarily what they had dreamed, like what they had envisioned.
When they were shooting for it,
I think what they could have done, and I don't want to get too much detail of this, but I think what they could have done is taken that big budget, paid their employees more, made the game a little bit smaller, it would have been developed faster, and everyone would have been happy.
Yeah.
I don't think players would have been bitching if the game was 20 hours.
I think this is a little transactional, but when we're talking about shrinking games like The Last of Us 2, I think what we're talking about is more like shrinking those open combat encounters where it's like you go through one wave of enemies and then another wave of enemies and then another wave of enemies, and you're not really like pushing the story forward in any way through those encounters. You're just like taking a break from the story to do some gameplay. You can kind of streamline those areas and still keep the story content,
trim the fat, so to speak. This is we could talk about this all. This could be a whole podcast in and of itself.
We could about this, or go to Discord. We could talk about it there. I've already talked about how Naughty Dog should be making Telltale games. If they made factions, and a Telltale game, it'd be tens all around.
Let's see. Thorax says, I really thought Nick would pick a bucket of sushi to have all things. Somebody asked us what kind of foods we would like to have in a bucket. Nolan, yeah. You were you on the last podcast? I can't remember.
I was not.
Yeah, somebody asked if we could have a bucket of any kind of food we want, because like KFC does like buckets of chicken, bucket whatever.
That was what other foods would benefit from the bucket treatment?
I don't think sushi would be good in a bucket.
Sushi's not a binge food in general, I don't think.
Wait a minute. How do you say bucket in Spanish?
I'm unsure.
I don't know, but you should get back to us when you figure that out. I don't think sushi would be good in a bucket. And he also asked, how much would a bucket of sushi cost? I don't want to think about it.
What if he's saying that the sushi roll is like the bucket? So you have like a layer of rice on the outside and a layer of seaweed, and then like there's like a giant, like there's not even like slices of avocado, it's just like whole halves of avocados going down a side.
So just at some point you would be literally just digging your face into like a bunch of raw fish, just like because at some point you can't get enough of like it.
You ever had a poke bowl?
I guess that's true.
So I went to Google Translate and I typed in bucket of Cubans and I got cubo de cubanos.
Sounds right to me.
But if I
I'd
just
buy
type
that
in
for $1.
I get cubeta.
Can we talk about Tsushima yet?
Cubeto?
Almost, Brad. Hang on to your butts. Almost. Rice Ball says, I think Perfect Dark will and should be level based. Remember we talked about Perfect Dark and what that could look like if they brought it back. What was really wrong with that formula? It doesn't need to be open world to be a good first person shooter and tell a story.
Conversation.
Think
Bigger,
time.
better, 80
right.
hours.
He says, think Time Splitters, make a remaster of those, and people would go nuts. But a new entry that is open world, people would be on the fence from the get-go. You're right. There is a certain amount of baggage that comes with suddenly making a game open world. And I think that's really all that needs to be said on the subject. We didn't get a Perfect Dark announcement today anyways. So
we'll get to it when we talk about Halo, maybe, right? Or did I read that
we
wrong?
will. I mean, that's one of those games that's supposedly kind of walking the line between open world and, some it's kind of like Dragon Age Inquisition. We'll talk about that anyway later. But yeah, that's going to do it pretty much for our comments this week, guys. If you have anything you want to say after tonight's discussions, drop us a comment over at 4playernetwork.com on the post for this episode, and we'll respond to it next week. So with that said, yes, Brad, we can talk about Ghost of Tsushima right now.
Yeah.
I don't know where we want to start this conversation because, like I said,
foliage. Let's talk about foliage.
All right, foliage.
There's so much
There's so many different colors. The golden forest is beautiful.
First of all, I guess it's so we're all kind of, we're wading through that game. Some of us are farther than others. I don't know.
Has anyone made it out of the first section yet?
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm in Act 2.
I have not. I'm still in Act 1.
So myself and the Chris's have made it out of the first
Castle Canada. You guys haven't assaulted Castle Canada yet?
Not yet.
What does that mean, though? How does that translate to y'all's experience? Because this isn't.
Well, I just wanted to make sure I can talk about certain things.
There is. I know there is one mechanical or tool that you get at the end of Act 1 that I would imagine changes gameplay a little bit and traversal in the second act. Can you confirm?
It does, but you don't get to use it enough, I feel like.
Yeah.
Can you use what we're talking about here like freely?
Oh,
or?
yeah. Well, yeah. No.
You can't use it freely.
Mike,
There's certain areas you can.
Okay, yeah, but not like, yeah. No.
Okay.
Good talk, Crispy.
Anyway,
how much
talk
time
about
do you spend in that first area before moving on?
Oh God, a lot.
I
didn't do everything. There's plenty I haven't even
I'll
done.
be honest. I think I did everything.
Saying
I think I spent close to 20 hours in that first area.
I'm approaching 20 hours and I'm in the first area still. And I still have the whole upper left quadrant of that map I haven't even been to yet. I have not even touched it.
Decide when you want to move on because it seems like there's a lot to do.
There is a lot
the
to
way
do.
I've been doing it, Brad, is I've kind of been doing some of the main kind of like not even main story, but like the tales, the kind of the sub stories you can do. And as I've been doing those, I've been anytime I put out my marker on the tail, the wind guides me, and that's one of the things I love about this. I'm going in the map way fewer than I would in like an Assassin's Creed game or something, just because the wind is guiding me. But I put a marker on my destination, and then as I'm going there, whatever I encounter, I do. So if I encounter a fortress, I'll do it. If I encounter a fox den, whatever, and then I get there and I kind of do it, and either that might lead on to something else, or maybe sometimes when you like reclaim fortresses from the Mongols, a burst will go out on your map and maybe we'll discover a secret, something like a question mark nearby. I'll go do that. But I haven't really been like Nick said, he has like a big section that's grayed out. I haven't been necessarily going to those just because I'm like, oh, what's there?
Speaking of long,
who recorded this footage?
Too long.
I did.
Nick.
Okay. What did I do wrong?
Running by all that wood. Okay, whatever. Next.
Oh God, how can you not collect it?
Why you need Nick? You need that wood.
Like it was like 10 steps to your left.
I collect every shiny flower,
Guys,
wood, bamboo, whatever.
You don't walk the path.
It is a beautiful open world samurai.
Has anybody maxed out their bamboo? I did. It was like, you can't pick up any more bamboo.
All I know is supply
I have not.
is really important.
For the first time ever, Brad was trying to get this conversation on track. Let's let him keep going.
What's up,
You
Brad?
sure you want me to keep going, Nick?
Not really, but go ahead.
Hey, for what it's worth, I'm really enjoying this game, even though it is on one side, beautiful game, lots of neat systems like the wind and the animals and all that stuff. On the other side, a pretty bog standard open world like checklist game, but like it doesn't matter because this side is the good side is so good.
Okay, so I think that's the crux of.
I could see like one of those brilliant like Red Dead immersive games in this one. This game's not trying to be that. If it was, that'd probably be amazing too. But I think what this game is good at is looking really nice and having a really good vibes.
Brett, I would counter that argument by the open world, like Red Dead-y, Assassin's Creed collecty stuff. While it's there, it's like a fourth of what it would be in an Assassin's Creed game. There are so many fewer
modern
things.
Assassin's Creed.
Correct. Thank you. Yes. Yeah. This is like an Assassin's Creed 2 level of collection. There's fucking some flags. There's some haikus. There's some, you know what I'm saying? There are so few things that you have to collect. And yeah, I think it works out in a way that I don't feel the urge to, I need 100%. I need to collect all these things. But anytime I see one, I'm like, oh, cool. Another one.
Not to mention
an artifact that I can.
It's the kind of game where I think you can go through the main story and then you would be comfortable or even happy to go back and just kind of do the things that you want to revisit before being done with it.
Like a lot of the smaller side things that you get, like fox dens and things like that, like once you find them, it doesn't take more than a minute to do. And you don't have to go through an elaborate process to pick up an item because you click R2 for everything in this game.
This is the dream game for Brad, who's always bitched about not being able to like pick things up while walking on a horse or like having to.
No. The dream game is the one I just played. The dream game was Last of Us 2, where I could walk by things and not have to press any button, and she's da 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 da.
Okay, that's true.
I have to press a button. It's fine.
Nick, I would argue with you that the one problem I have with that R2 to pick everything up or whatever is that's also the thing that switches your stances. And I am constantly accidentally switching stances when I go to pick something up. Constantly. You're right. I will say that feature of switching stances has gotten me killed in battle before because I've been trying to fight someone and not realize I was in switch stance mode. So I'm just not attacking. I just keep switching stances back and forth because I didn't realize it had popped up. That's actually a frustration I have with this game, that I don't like that while you're in Sonji, you don't tap it. As soon as you tap R2, like you're like in a stance choosing mode, and until you tap it again, like it stays there.
I didn't actually know that because I usually just hold it down naturally, so I didn't know about tapping it.
Yeah, I don't. That's not a thing.
Is that a setting I have on that I can turn off?
I think that's a setting.
Motherfucker.
It could be, yeah.
Motherfucker.
Well, we just made this experience better for Nolan. Real quick, let's just kind of get this on track because we're moving past a topic I definitely want to cover here because when this game was announced or when it was first shown, I suppose people's first reaction to it was very like, "Oh, I think this is." God damn it, Crispy! Can you stop? Crispy.
You just did the coolest thing with Heaven Strike, and you're like, that move's overrated.
He's not what he said. He just got it. It sounds
Crispy. Like. God damn it. Can we focus for a second? This is like, I know we haven't podcasted in like 3 weeks or 2 weeks, but we need to focus for a second because the conversation I want to have right now, first of all, is when it was first announced, when it was first shown, people's reaction immediately was, and rightfully so, was okay. This confirms it. I think this is one of those games, right? One of those Assassin's Creed-y, like checklist collectathon type games. And it absolutely is on one hand. And Brad made a distinction earlier, I think subtly made a distinction between something like Assassin's Creed and Red Dead, even though Red Dead is also kind of one of those games. But the difference being the way the way those games flow.
Is that like Red Dead is sort of in another class of immersiveness.
It's a very organic experience. I think
not trying to be that. This is trying to be more gamey. It's just at the same time, it has this beautiful thing that's sort of almost at odds with that. That's also sort of keeping it from being like Mad Max or something.
Right. And you made this distinction earlier, and I think that's important because I keep thinking about I'm playing Ghost of Tsushima. I'm loving it, but I'm thinking about it, and a lot of people. I was honestly expecting this game to come out, and people would have that very knee-jerk, like, ugh, I don't like these kinds of games experience. And even I've seen people in our very own Discord who normally would have that reaction who are absolutely in love with this game. And I think that has so much to do with how the game looks. It's so serene and pretty. that it's like you've said it a couple times, Brad. It's kind of hard to stay mad at this game, or it's kind of hard to like stop yourself from enjoying it because it's just so goddamn pretty. I think this might be one of the prettiest games, like just from a art aesthetic standpoint, that like I've ever played. And
it's definitely one of the best looking games on the PS4, like hands down. You know what another good thing about that is another game that recently came out, Last of Us. I think this kind of looks better than Last of Us. This game does not make my PS4 sound like a jet.
It's funny.
I don't know what the fuck they did.
It's not like technically as impressive as Last of Us. It just looks better overall because
you're zoomed out a little more. The environments are pretty. It's not post-apocalyptic. But what I'm saying is for some reason, whatever they've done, it doesn't make my PS4 sound crazy.
Okay, really interesting, Nolan, because I've had kind of my PS4 was pretty loud with Last of Us, and it's pretty loud here with Ghost of Tsushima as well.
Is yours a physical disc, Nick?
Yeah.
Mine is digital. I don't know if that makes a difference.
That probably, you mean you're not having to spin a disc.
There's no disc spinning in mine.
Well, I have it physical, and I definitely hear it spin up, and sometimes the fans will come on, not necessarily loud. I mean, not nearly as bad as it was for The Last of Us, but it's okay. It's not intolerable.
Headphones help. Headphones definitely help.
I can't.
Well, when you have someone else in like the room with you watching and stuff like that, it makes headphones a little more difficult.
Robin was in her room playing a game, and she came into my room because she was like, "Is that your PS4?" And I was like, "Yeah." And she goes, "I thought my PS4 turned on," and I was like, "That's weird." And then I came, and then she's like, and then I realized it was you across the hall, and I was like, "Damn, that's loud."
Nolan,
What's up, Brad?
I use a headphone splitter, and for whatever reason, like if I plug it into my computer and I plug in two headphones, it's not powered. So it will lower the volume, but when I do it into a PS4 controller, it doesn't. It's still like max volume. So I played through The Last of Us, and I've been playing this with Malia, and we're just sitting next to each other, both with headphones on.
Oh, nice.
So you should try that.
Sweet. But yeah, kind of getting back on track here. This is obviously very much one of those games that commonly gets brought up and criticized because it's rote is a word that's commonly thrown around. It's done quite a bit, but something about this game, the way it's presented, just makes it kind of hard to, or makes it easy to not really care about that. But I think about a game like Red Dead, and I think about it compared to this, and I think this is maybe the harshest criticism I could lodge at this game so far, is that a lot of the side stuff, a lot of the interesting stories that are just kind of scattered throughout the world that you find none of them are triggered organically. You have to walk up to someone, you see an icon, you have to walk up to them and you have to talk to them, which triggers the whole mission to start, as opposed to something like Red Dead where you could be walking through the world and you hear someone scream and then you run up to them and something just kind of organically happens.
I will say that can happen in this. Not for main story stuff, but for like side areas. I've definitely found villagers who have been captured by Mongols, and I saved them, and they tell me about, I was traveling through here.
That's different, and that's true. That's really cool. Like you fill out the map by rescuing people and talking to them, and that's pretty cool. Like you don't just like go into a map and you see all these things that are just kind of already there. When you get the map, it's a blank slate. So by rescuing people,
they tell you about an area, it pops up on your map, and then you can go there. But yes, I agree that those are not like the more story-based stuff. That is more of a generic, hey, there is a little village here that you didn't know about or something.
I've also had like really cool, unique-looking locations that I go to, and I'm like, well, nothing's happening. And then I realized, well, a quest is going to take me here later. That was sort of like a Witcher issue. Definitely seeing here.
I mean, that's kind of what comes with the territory of any open world game where you can kind of explore it willy-nilly. You come across something that looks like it should be significant. You're like, well, it probably will be eventually, but what can you do? That's just kind of an exchange. I mean, it's what you're, that's what you get for the freedom that they give you.
One thing that this game has that Red Dead 2 certainly didn't is it's really fun to play. Moment to moment.
Fuck off.
Yeah, I always want
Fuck off. I will eject you from this podcast.
I mean,
hold on, Nick. One thing I will say this has over Red Dead is when I call my horse, it doesn't matter where the horse is, it fucking appears. And I fucking love that. Versus
that has
Red
gotten
Dead,
me
it's like,
killed.
Your horse is too far away.
That has gotten me killed. Let me tell you how many times I've accidentally hit the because sometimes I
And
forget.
you whistle and someone
Sometimes I
hears you.
forget how to like pull up the menu to pick which like throwable item I'm gonna use, and I call my horse in the middle of a fucking Mongol base, and the horse comes trotting through the fucking like right down the path in the middle of the base, and it alerts people. People are like, "What the fuck is that horse doing?" And then they attack me.
Yeah,
So here's a tip about that is
Don't
that
do it.
well, no, I mean, yeah, obviously, but if you are on top of like a building or someplace the horse can't get to, it won't do the whistle.
Well, that's good to know. Let me tell you this, guys. One time I was scaling a shrine, and I was kind of on like I had jumped to like a cliff face that you can only get to by jumping, right? And I accidentally called my horse, and all of a sudden it appeared on the cliff out of nowhere.
Yeah, I mean that happens a lot. It's just the tech.
Yeah.
Andy, I gotta ask you a question. I almost called bullshit earlier.
Oh God.
Today.
On what?
But this guy, he's maximum immersion, right? You know, refuses to teleport in Half-Life Alyx unless it's required of the story, that sort of thing, right? This guy, I knew he wasn't fast traveling, and that's fine, which is a shame.
You're talking about me, right?
Yeah, because that's what I said, right, Nick? But
You pointed.
It's a shame you don't use it because fast travel's so fast in this game. I don't know what kind of loading tech they're using, but they're
it is pretty good.
I have used it twice to go back to the Golden Temple just because I didn't. That was the only place I could use to like buy armor. But I've since unlocked more places.
Now let me get to my question. This dude said he doesn't fast travel after shrines,
Right.
the Torii gate.
Use the fast travel back down to the bottom or whatever.
Kind of boring low stakes platforming. You platform all the way back?
No, usually usually you can just do. First of all, every shrine is a little bit different. So sometimes you can just kind of like hop down some rocks, and it takes you to a point where you're back on the front of the trail anyways. It doesn't matter. Yeah,
maybe you're right. Like the thing is, the last one I did was the one that was out in a little island. You definitely could.
Right.
Okay.
And I think that one I may have fast traveled back to.
Okay.
Because of where it was.
Because
I'm not like a crazy, like I do like I don't fast travel typically, but a handful of times I do.
How do you feel about the platforming?
I mean, the platform, I talking about mostly the shrines and stuff where you go to. It reminds me very much of like Tomb Raider 2013 and its approach to like.
It's a little sticky.
More interactive. This is more just like
jump on this tree branch and jump across here.
You can't even really fall. Which
you can.
You have to try very hard to fall,
or you can just be me, and I fell like 3 times on one.
Man,
it's really annoying.
To figure that shit out. Well, I figured Breath of the Wild kind of figured it out, right? But that was so maybe too open ended.
I think the problem with having it that free is it's hard to kind of getting to the shrine is no longer kind of a mini puzzle. It is now just climb up this face. I think that's kind of what they tried to do with the shrines. Is like I don't really want to call it a puzzle because it's honestly not that hard, and there's really only one path. But that's kind of the element to get you there, I guess.
Right, I don't want to like Breath of the Wild necessarily, although they came up with ways to like make it trickier. But
yeah,
I just wish someone would try to bring back higher stakes platforming because the type of platformer that looks like this and doesn't look like fucking Mario doesn't exist anymore. Like the one where the challenge was the platform, like classic Tomb Raider, like the older Prince of Persia games, right? Like that doesn't exist anymore. Like I Am Alive was the last one I think that really tried to challenge the player.
That's a deep cut.
Realistic clambering around, right? But games still put it in there, even though it's like kind of a non-thing.
To answer Sony's question in chat, no, when we say higher stakes, we don't mean lose all your shit. We mean like when you try to make a jump to a cliff face or like over a gap, like there's a real chance that you might not make it.
Yeah, or just it's tough, it's tricky, it requires timing and precision. Like modern games don't have that type of platforming unless they look like Mario. You know what I mean?
Right.
But there was a time when they were like looked like this and were like that. But
right.
You walk through doors all the time?
Yeah, most of the time. Yeah, I'm not an asshole, Brad.
Do you just slash through them or something?
Dude, it's satisfying. It's like breaking glass and last.
I do it on like abandoned houses. I don't do it on like someone's house.
It's hilarious though.
No, the video that Brad posted the other day was perfect, where he's like every single time, and there's a door where one half is already bashed through, and the other one's like fine, and he just, instead of running through the hole that's already there, he just like bashes through the other side.
Well, that was me in The Last of Us with Windows. I broke every fucking window in Last of Us.
Yeah,
I believe you.
It was loud.
I believe you.
There were like gunshots. God of War is a recent example. The most recent one had a bunch of climbing around for no reason, just because it looks cool, I guess.
Yeah.
There was nothing to it. I just
there is something to be said about the way it feels.
Yeah, but like these guys made Infamous, and I feel like Infamous did have a little bit of stakes with the platform.
You could also traverse a little bit different in Infamous.
It was very
you had
different.
Superpowers.
And it was also a very super vertical game.
Yeah,
like you weren't spending 90% of your time on the ground.
In this game,
wait, what?
Do you get the ice launch in this game?
You do not. You do not get the ice launch.
You got to wait to the third area for that, bro.
Realistic games.
I want to shift focus a minute and talk about what I think this game, because everybody talks about what this game is going for and what it's not going for, and everyone's like, it could be this, but that's not what it's going for. It could be that, but that's not really what it's going for. But what I think it is going for is making you feel like a badass by making you feel like a samurai.
Mm-hmm.
And I think in that regard, it succeeds pretty well. So I want to talk about the combat.
I feel badass when I nail a bunch of combos correctly, and switching stances between different enemy types. A shield guy runs up, and I switch to what is the shield one called? Wind? Water?
I think it's
water.
The wind stance. No, water stance. Water stance.
Water, yeah, water. Yeah. And then
Stone,
a spear guy
Stone,
comes
water,
up, and I
wind,
switch to wind. All that stuff. I love that, and I get the perfect parry, and I slash a guy, and some guy freaks out, and as he's running away, I shoot him in the back with an arrow because no one runs from me.
As an action
super
game,
satisfying.
As an action game, I think this game succeeds pretty well because
I'm a little worried how they're going to keep mixing it up, but as of now, like
so it Prince brings up a good point. When I played Neo, I very rarely switched stances. I just found something that worked and kind of went with it. And I understand that it probably would have been easier if I would, but I think this game simplifies it enough. If I see a guy with the shield, I know what stance I need to be in. If I see a guy with swords, I know what stance I need to be in. And it was just a very quick, R2X if I'm fighting a guy with the
quick assessment.
Swords.
It's like a quick assessment, and you can make the change really quick.
Yeah.
And when as you play more, you get to the point like they'll throw like 6 enemies at you, and there'll be a mix of dudes. And the one thing that I know is going to come up in the conversation.
Can we show
combat,
his butt on the screen?
Kind of
stream. Is that fine?
I hope so.
There's his butt.
Yeah. The funny thing is I did that thinking it'd be interesting to show, and then I realized I'd already done that hot spring, so I just sat there in the water like, oh well,
like an idiot.
I guess I just showed chat his butt for no reason. Cool.
So Brad, I will say that the engagements do get more intense. They continue throwing new enemies at you well into the third act. And I've had engagements to where I fought like 20 Mongols at once.
But like you power up so much in this game.
Have you already reached the point where you start running?
You do power up significantly, but at the same time, you can take a lot of damage very quickly and very easily if you stumble on your button.
You'll also start encountering like archers who shoot more than one arrow at a time.
Mm-hmm.
And when there's like 3 or 4 archers who are each shooting 2 arrows at a time, if you don't like, those can hit you, make you stumble. You get hit by a guy's attack, like. It can add up.
I get that, but I'm saying you get like really significant skills, like being able to parry arrows or parry all the unblockable stuff, and it makes me wonder.
You can't parry all the unblockable stuff. You can parry the certain type.
Yeah.
Because there's
you
blue and
can
red.
earn certain things, but there's still going to be attacks that enemies are going to throw at you that you can't do anything about. You have to dodge.
Blue is just what it looks like now that you can parry the red, right? Before it was red. Now you have a skill and it shows up as blue and you can parry it. That's how I read it.
Yeah, but there are still
one
red
of the few
attacks. That
exceptions.
There's still red attacks that will come that you can't.
Okay, but I'm saying you get skills to make combat like easier.
Yeah,
you're right. And honestly, one of the concerns I have right now, and I feel like a lot of what I've heard people talk about is kind of convinced me otherwise, or that I don't need to be worried about it necessarily. But like I said, I'm approaching like 20 hours. I'm still towards the end of the first act. And I'm worried that by the time I get to the second act, I'm gonna have like maxed out my character, unlocked everything on the.
You definitely won't.
Okay.
You definitely won't. Like,
Nick,
holy shit. Like, I've gotten to the second area and there's still so many skills that I just like desperately want that I just don't have the technique points to get to.
Nick, I'm telling you right now, I have done every single activity in the first area. I've done all but one of the activities in the second area. I'm in the third area now. I still have not maxed out my character.
But everyone does max out their character from what I heard in reviews.
I think if you do enough, like in the game, you probably there's enough points flying around that you'll be able to max out. Yeah.
I feel like it's kind of
it's just
hard.
more so the order you choose to go in.
I think if you mainline the game, if that's the way you choose to play a game, if you like decide, hey, I'm going to like focus solely on story and just plow through it, it would be easy to get to the end where you feel like you do have to make hard decisions between skills because you're like, I'm not going to be able to unlock all of these. But if you're most people in this game, especially because of how beautiful it is, are going to feel compelled to like do everything they can.
You know what I realized?
What?
This is like the Okami of open world action games.
And what I mean, maybe are you talking about because of the way it looks, or
the look and the style of all the dressings or whatever as well? You know, like the tail of whatever, and then it fades away. You know that kind of shit, right? The stuff that makes the game look nice outside of just the foliage,
the flourishes,
like when someone's telling you a story and it goes into the like the painting art style, like
that stuff props and fun combat. Not necessarily like super deep, but fun. I feel like that stuff is like elevating the rest like so much, like an Okami would, to the point where like people look at it fondly, even though it doesn't have any real dungeons. It is just kind of a Zelda knockoff.
I mean, I think at the end of the day, this is gonna. I mean, I don't know.
It's just funny because they're both Japanese, and I'm wondering, maybe we're just all weebs, and we're just in love with being samurais and shit.
Crispy is very quiet, and he's being very. I want to talk about the combat. Crispy, you've been so excited to become a samurai.
Oh, he thinks you're stupid for not liking Heavenly Strike, which I tend to agree. But didn't you just get it,
guys? God damn it! First of all, in Discord, I did not say I don't like Heavenly Strike. I love Heavenly Strike, but people kept talking about it like it was this. Your mic's off, by the way, Crispy.
No wonder.
Everybody keeps talking about like it's the second coming. I was expecting this huge like epic fucking attack, and it really is just like a quick.
There's
slash.
easier ways to say that you do not walk the path of the blade.
I didn't like
you do not know the life of a warrior. You do not know the ways of honor.
Bitch, I've been using Heavenly Strike. I think it's awesome.
Dude, it's amazing.
It's amazing in its utility.
Oh, but the other one, the next one you get the dance of brutality. I don't remember what it's called.
Something like that.
It's just a straight like press these buttons and you win the fight. Like,
yeah, it pretty much is.
It's just like da da da. Yeah. Like it'll kill at least 2 people. Like it's nuts.
Sweet.
This game is like so gamey at times.
It's super.
Dude, why'd you kill that guy? He was just sleeping.
And I am like I do, like with any other, like Brad was saying, bog standard open world checklist game. Like I do kind of get into these. Like I'm playing myself into like a fugue, like every time I sit down and play this game, I go and I find a fox den, and then I go find a pillar of honor, and then I like do a mission, and then I clear out a Mongol base and like all this stuff. And then it's just like 5 hours later, and I don't know what day it is anymore. And I'm just like, I gotta not look at this game for a minute. So like, I kind of feel that. I kind of feel the bones of this thing being that like, traditional open world Ubisoft game. But
you're right.
Everything on top of it, all of the like heart and soul of the game is
incredible.
So revitalizing. And like I just sitting here watching this footage, Nick. You walk away from so many standoffs, Nick.
Guys,
that's the coolest part of this game is when you're just like Central Best Warrior, and then you go out there and just fucking like cut people down. It's so cool.
You're right.
Chris, so I have
real quick. Y'all are spending a lot of time nitpicking my footage. Can I just say, I spent 2 hours last night trying to capture this footage because I'm so judgmental of my own footage.
Oh my God,
this is just
I made one comment about Heavenly Strike and you lost your shit. You yelled at me.
That's because that's the way I am.
Wait, can we talk about a little nitpick? The standoffs are really cool and they look dope. Why is that prompt there every fucking time? We know we're supposed to hold triangle. We've done it 200 times. Why are you taking away this cinematic angle and saying hold triangle?
I thought it was kind of cheesy and was gonna like stop being fun. But they start like, I don't know, maybe I'm just jumpy or stupid or like I just like addled from all the caffeine, but like
they try to psych you out.
Some of them get really good at psyching me out.
Yes,
like
they do.
Some of them get really good at just like,
but that's
like I'm just sitting there like waiting for it, and they go like, ah! And I like fucking cut.
There is an enemy that you encounter in Act 2 that will really mess with you, and they are actually very hard to stand off.
All right, couple questions.
But you see what I'm saying about the whole triangle? You see what I'm saying?
No.
If you don't like that, Brad, you can turn that off. You realize that, right?
How?
Hold on. That's what I'm fucking trying to talk about, bitches.
Nolan knows.
So before I started this game, I went into the menu. That's what I've been doing for the past like year and a half. Is I always just go in the settings, kind of look around. One of the settings I chose was for all the hold prompts, switch them to a button tap. So I did that. And I'm assuming that's how standoffs are now. I don't hold. I just tap whenever they come to attack.
But does it still tell you? Does it still tell you?
The problem is, yes, it tells you to hold. So for my first 10, 15 standoffs, I kept fucking getting hit. And I didn't understand why, because I wasn't supposed to be holding. I was supposed to be tapping. Secondly, I don't know if this is a factor of that or just generic open world gamey, like, glitchy. Have y'all had standoffs where the guy you're standing off with just walks away?
No.
Oh my! It's happened to me like fucking 15 times.
Wait,
like triangle. No. It's like standoff, and then I walk up, and then the guy walks up, and he just walks past me, and he just keeps fucking going.
Before we move off of glitches, I did have one standoff glitch where it was just like, and then it does like the drum roll, and it like pushes in on the guy, and then like for 3 minutes, nothing happened, and it just was like. And I was like, "What is happening?" Like I thought the game was like really getting into my head. It was fucking horrible. But so while we're talking about glitches, I do want to mention one more because the first day that Cam was playing this game, I saw him do a move where I don't know what move it is, but he did a move where he like literally cut the dude's head off, like decapitated him.
That must be a late game thing.
And then walked away and came back, and the dude's headless body was going, like crawling away, and he had to like end his suffering.
So this the standoff stuff, and so
sounds
now
like a
I'm
Black
curious.
Knight situation.
I'm curious if those glitches are and Chris Davis, did you switch yours to where you don't have to hold, you just tap?
No.
Then what? Okay. So that hold on. So that's my question. Is that why when I am doing the R2 stuff to switch my stances, is that why it's not going away? Maybe is because I turned that function on. Yeah, so that's what I'm thinking. So that might be a trade-off you have to do to where in standoffs you have to you get to tap, but now whenever you're switching stances, a single tap just brings you up into that mode and you can't get away from it until you.
I would
tap
try
it again.
switching it back and see if it fixes that particular problem.
I'm also curious as if that's why I've been having so many standoff glitches, because apparently no one else has had this. It's happened to me 5 or 6 times. Bernadette's been there where there was one time I was on an actual mission. I think it might have been with Yuna, and we're going to this place, and the mission story starts with a standoff. You have to do it. And the guy just walked away. And of course, if you fuck up a standoff, you lose like all your health. Well, I just happened to be at a part where I had no resolve. And I'm like, I don't want to fucking go into a battle with no resolve and no health. So I reload the checkpoint. Guy walks away again. Reload the checkpoint, guy, and it happened every single time. I think
you just found like a perfect storm that causes that particular glitch.
Yeah,
you should go on their like bug report, like if they have like a forum where you can report bugs and shit, and see if
that should be recording these because they happen all the fucking time.
Yeah. Record that shit and just tweet it at Sucker Punch and see what happens.
They retweeted my fucking beautiful like photo mode thing I took the other day. I should reply to that one like, hey, you retweeted that. How about you fix these glitchy standoffs?
Shit. Chris Davis, before you move on. You talked about, can you turn off the prompt altogether?
There is a mode for the UI called immersion mode or something like that, and yes, it will disable like almost most of your HUD, including prompts.
Oh,
Ooh, I don't know if I want everything off. I just like it's not even a HUD element. It is a tutorial element telling you how to do it. That's there every time.
it's like
Well,
Zelda.
I mean,
where
I'm
it
gonna
tells
be
you how to,
honest with
ride a
you,
horse
like-
until the very end.
Like I'm still 40 hours in, and there'll be times where I'll be fighting certain Mongols the wrong way. I'll be using a stone stance against a shield bearer, and it will sometimes pause the game, tell me to switch
Those are kind of
stances to
nice.
attack.
oh no, that's not.
Well, it's kind of nice when like you're getting flustered, like you're being attacked by so many enemies, and you're getting flustered, and all of a sudden you start hitting on this guy, and the game's like, hey, maybe switch stances, and you're like, oh fuck, I am in the wrong stance.
Yeah,
Thank
it's a
you.
reminder.
Like it's actually been helpful to me a couple
Game not
times.
slow down when you switch stances since you're not holding a button.
It does.
No, I'm
It does hold. So yeah, that's the thing. It slows down for a second, and then it goes back to normal speed. But the switch stance thing is still up.
You need to switch.
And so,
You need
yeah,
to switch
I didn't fucking know. I've been infuriated. Like, I've just been so angry because multiple times enemies are wailing on me, and I keep pressing
The
parry,
way-
but I'm not parrying. Well, that's because I'm still in a fucking menu.
like switching.
Alright, anyway.
Durable. The way it's set up by
Nolan,
default. Technically.
yeah.
Mhm.
Nolan, let me ask you, with this setting, when you go out and use a bamboo strike, which requires a multiple button press combination in quick succession, is it just like that, or does it do something different?
What?
I mean, I have to tap all the buttons.
Those are all
Like,
tapped.
Okay.
Yeah, I
they're-
don't see that
I just
changing.
tapped them all.
Because I
Yeah.
thought that might be part of an accessibility thing.
You know what's tough? Talking about a game that all 5 of us have played.
Yeah.
You know what's tough? 5-person podcasts in general, but when we've all played the game, it's pretty rough. We haven't talked about the story at all, or the.
We haven't even talked about the
that aspect
stealth.
of the game.
It's because it's my least favorite part of the game, the story.
I mean, here's the
Not because it's bad. Not because it's bad. Just because everything's depressing. Everything is our entire
This game's
country's
kind of
invaded by
humorous. The
Mongols.
game's kind of
Everything's dying. Everyone's sad. Every person I interact with, it's not, oh, let's go do this fun romp. It's, oh, my family's dead. Oh, it's just all kind of serious and
Everyone's
straightforward.
just murdering and betraying. And,
I keep expecting to find like the goofy, kooky tail character.
there are a few.
They're all serious.
That's
they're
the
all
sake. That's
the sake
merchant.
brewer, and there's also a dude
Kenji?
that in this
Yeah.
in this footage that I'm recording here. I don't know if you could tell what was happening because I don't have subtitles on or whatever. But like that guy, that samurai that I had the face off with, that eventually gives up. He is a dude who was like pretending to be a samurai so he could like live in this village and like hit on the ladies there.
Yeah,
and
like
you confront him. And you
Eventually-
confront.
That fight starts off like any of the other duel fights, and it puts his like name and health bar up, and then he's immediately like, wait, I'm sorry. Like,
Yeah, like it's a wonderful
that
thing.
was
Yeah.
really funny.
But
Real quick,
like the humor stuff in this game is very few and far between. Most of the side content and side missions you do, there's not a whole lot of happy ending. There's a lot of my family got murdered, and
I mean, it is
there's something I can do about it.
We're dealing with a story about the invasion of an island and
Correct.
people being, torn from their homes. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. That's what it is. Story wise, for me, like that stuff doesn't so much bother me in terms of because it's depressing. If I can just play The Last of Us 2, which is a very depressing game.
Vibrantly depressing though.
It is vibrantly, yeah. But like what I'm running into here, and obviously I've been doing so much side stuff, I can't really talk about this yet. But I've been kind of, I think the story, the way it's presented, is fine. It's cinematic. It's well executed. I'm just waiting. I'm hoping that at the end of the day, when we finish this game, we look back on it, it's not just like, oh, that was a pretty run of the mill, like Mongols invade the island, hero rises up and squashes the Mongols. Like I'm hoping there's some other dramatic element that's introduced that makes it more interesting.
There
a lot
are.
of
I know both of the endings of the game.
there's a lot
I
of
didn't even know there
samurai
was multiple
story
endings.
cliches here that kind of, I don't know if it's just starting that way and they're going to get into like some more unique stories later, but I feel like
I will say this: some of the
all the
tales,
conversations that he has with his father and flashbacks and
His
shit.
uncle.
Real
like,
quick,
training and stuff, I'm like, yeah, control your emotion. Wait a minute, are Jedi just samurai?
this is so hard to have this conversation,
Oh my
guys.
god.
Well, samurai movies are of a genre called Jidaigaki, which means like costume drama or history drama or something like that. and that is largely considered to be where George Lucas got the name Jedi from.
Wow. It just seems a lot of like honor this and shame, and control
that's
your
what
emotions, and it's like that's what every samurai story is.
and that's what I'm saying. I'm hoping this becomes this finds a way to be more than just a well done homage to those stories.
I mean, you guys are in the first act.
You're right.
Yeah.
And
The
that's why
story hasn't even really started.
That's why I don't want to. I think by far the most. There's two things like story wise that I want to say. One, the tales that have like multi parts, like where you're constantly going back to a character and they have an overarching story that you follow. Of which I think there were only 9 like that in the full game, if I remember correctly. Like those have been very interesting so far to me. Like the characters that you deal with.
It feels like old Grand Theft Auto. Like go to there, watch the cutscene, and you're gonna like that part of that character's story.
But those characters are very interesting, and the stories that you are following with those characters are a lot more interesting than just say like coming into a village and finding someone that's like, oh no, these Mongols attacked my home or they stole my rice. You know, that kind of stuff is less interesting than like the archer who's talking, who is, you know, where you're trying to deal with his protege who is, you know, turned over, like is fighting for the Mongols now. That kind of stuff is really interesting. But like the more interesting part from the main story that I'm really into, and I hope they lead into this a lot, is specifically Jin's inner conflict, where he's like at like what he needs to do to win this fight is at odds with what he's been raised to do as a samurai. Like he's like conflicted about like using stealth and attacking from the shadows and that kind of stuff. And like one of the coolest moments I had in the game, and I'm sure this has happened to y'all before, and it's, you know, it's kind of like, remember when we first up at Red Dead Redemption 2, where it's like everyone had that moment where they saw some dude who was like get kicked in the face by a horse while changing a horseshoe, and you were like, oh, that's really cool, but then you see it multiple times.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if this is like that. I don't know yet, but I had this moment and I tweeted about it where I was in the middle of a combat scenario. I was stealthing around or whatever, and I jumped off a cliff and did like a stealth attack on this dude, and it like faded to white, and all of a sudden I had a flashback where my uncle talked to me about like honor, and I was like, what the fuck? That just happened?
The first time you do a stealth kill, it does that.
Yeah, that was a story thing.
First time you do that kind of stealth kill.
That wasn't my first time. That was my first time doing specifically.
No, the one that you do outside of like the ones that the story forces you to do.
I mean, I guess at that point I had still been playing for like 10 hours. So
I know. I got it way after the fact too.
Okay, I mean,
it's the first time that like you're put in a situation where you can do whatever you want and you choose to like stab someone in the back. That's when you have that cutscene.
And that it felt very organic, and that was kind of like a mind-blowing moment for me, even though I know like superficially it's probably very simple and everybody experiences it in a very similar way. But like that to me was the most interesting story thing that happened in the entire game, which is just...
Well, Nick, let me tell you, like Crispy was saying, the story really doesn't start to pick up until after you finish Act 1. You know, because that's just establishing the characters and what you're going to be doing. Right. Act 2 is when they really just switch into high gear. They introduce a few more characters, you get more dynamics going on, and you get more story stuff going on that isn't necessarily just go to X place and kill Mongols.
Okay, that's cool. And that's all I really need to hear, because I think at the end of the day, no one's going to look back at this game and say, "Oh, the story was crap." I think it's serving its purpose. It's doing a good job of it so far. It just may not.
I'm not going to be specific, but I will tell you there's a quest line in Act 2 that it's mostly about story and a relationship with the main character, and I was almost tearing up at a point. It was really kind of...
I like the sound.
A lot to get Chris Davis to tear up.
I like the sound. Anything that I like the sound of that, because I like Jin as a character. I like Yuna. I like a lot of the side characters introduced in the quest.
You know what I like about Jin?
Huh?
Changing his outfits and customizing them and making them look all cool.
Right.
That's what I fucking like.
Dude, we haven't really touched on this, and I know we got to move on here pretty soon, but like, there is something about this game that is so fucking, and I know I've said this a lot on Twitter. This game is so elegant in its design, like its UI, and like how every time, like when you take out a group of Mongols and you have that nice like circle that's kind of slowly filling up, and like the sound effects that go with that, like everything feels so good. And when you actually like level up and your legend increases, and you see this like new animation of like what your character like looks like in the eyes of the people of the island. Like that stuff's really cool.
The peasants who worship you.
Yeah, basically.
Dude, have you met one of the dye merchants yet?
Yeah.
Yeah, I found the white merchant.
Yeah, and you can like dye your outfits and stuff and make them look all. And the fact that you level up your attire, but you can still make it look like the lower like one if you want and stuff like that. I fucking love that. There's so much. You can just it's like you don't got to pay for these outfits, with the real world money. It's like every outfit you have access to it, and you can make your character look how you want. And you can wear different kinds of hats, and you can fucking
some of these hats. Some of these hats are intense,
so many
dude.
different like sheaths for my katana and stuff.
Are the haiku bad, or am I doing something wrong?
I found a bucket hat.
Yeah,
just a bucket.
Maybe I'm not a very good poet, or maybe I'm not picking the right choices, but I feel like
you can't fuck up a haiku. What are you talking about?
I'm not talking about the form of a haiku. I'm talking about what the haiku's saying. They just seem kind of lame. Crispy's haikus from his Game of the Year were better than these.
Then you're be a better poet.
Like, this is a haiku of death. None of this sounded like death.
I'm a poet warrior.
I don't think Brad's very imaginative thing, because every time I get to one of these haikus, it's like reflect on death, reflect on fear. I'm thinking about that when I pick my choices, and I pick whichever ones make sense to me.
So
I do think some of them come out a little clunky because you don't know like what the subsequent choices are going to be. I think reflect on. I want to say
the fucking.
I don't know. There's one that I did that I was like, I really like that, and the rest of them kind of like, I'm not a poet.
The best though is the spring. I love it. It's been my favorite moments in the game so far.
The hot springs?
Is when you get completely undressed, you're all alone in the water, and you're like, think about Yuna.
My mother.
No, think about Yuna. Yeah, I'm gonna think about Yuna right now. It's just funny,
dude. Every time you
get butt naked, and then the choices are like, I don't know. It seems like there's a lot of women in this game, so I'm always like thinking about the women.
Dude, but there's time it's like you get in the water and it's like, think about this event that happened or something, or think about your uncle, and I'm like, I'll think about the event. How's that?
Speaking of hot springs, I will say, just kind of like, this world is beautiful, and the first time I encountered the town with like the hot springs and stuff, like, holy shit, that was fucking beautiful. Dude, just like coming up to that town with like, I happened to get there at like sunset, so like the sun is setting, and like there's all these like waterfalls and pools of water and shit. Like, dude, this game fucking amazing.
You think we would have all loved Mad Max besides Nick?
Yeah.
Wait, what was the question? I just heard the part about Mad Max and Nick.
If Mad Max was as beautiful as this game,
would we have all been filleting Mad Max like we are this game?
Yeah, I think so. I think so, and I don't think that that's like a weird thing or like bad.
No, it's not a bad
like, thing. I don't think putting that out there is like, oh, what a weird, shallow thing to think is important in a game.
If like, the game was just nice looking, maybe that wouldn't have been like, if the combat felt like Red Dead Redemption 2's combat, I probably wouldn't be so happy. But like, this game's also fun to play. It's beautiful and fun to play, and it's just it just everything else structurally kind of feels like a 5-year-old game. But I guess that's fine.
I mean, if this game came out in 2015, it would have been like, we would still be talking about it.
Have y'all messed around with the flute?
Yes.
I mean, I only have 2 songs.
Yeah.
Okay. You understand the function of the flute in the game, though,
yes,
right?
It changes the weather.
Yes.
I didn't know that, and then I got like the second song, and it was like a song of storms. I played it, and the weather changed. It just fucking blew my mind. I had no idea there was any functionality like this.
All right. Well, you know what? Back then, they actually had flutes that changed the weather. I got into an argument with Nick because I was like, I'm really enjoying this game, but I climb a lot of stuff, and there's a lot of cliffs. It's a very like the topography is very vertical or whatever, right? And I'm like, I just wish I had the Breath of the Wild glider, because it's so beautiful, and I wish I could just glide down this cliff.
I did not start an argument.
That'd be pretty cool. This shit. And Nick was like, well, they didn't have fucking.
That'd be pretty cool.
No, I just said I don't think that would have fit.
It's a grounded, realistic game, and it doesn't need that or something.
But I was swiftly corrected by people in Discord. They reminded me of all these things that would have worked, and I was like, I stand corrected. That's all.
Not even what I'm getting at. there's a lot of
at,
stuff
Brad?
here that's not historically time accurate.
But again, what I was talking about at the time was very different than like, hey,
hold on.
Just let him get to it.
What I'm saying is the argument that something needs to be historically appropriate, like, or like it's not worth it. I feel like game design should always come first. And one thing that isn't enjoyable is clambering down cliff sides, and you do that a lot. And I just wish there was something in there that made it like beautiful, like in Breath of the Wild, to descend. And it's not.
I concede the point.
Like,
you're right.
Like the most dated, like, climb down this cliff thing, and it's just like, oh, I just wish I could get down there quicker. And I find myself jumping and dying, falling to my death more because I want to get down so quickly.
But hey, Brad,
I the skill to roll, and that just led me to die more because now I think I can survive.
you think you can make it?
I just can't, and I'm dying.
Hey, you
like,
respawn pretty quick, Brad.
I just want to get down. If they put in a glider, this would no question be game of the year.
Fuck it, give him a wingsuit.
Yes,
Give him like a ninja wingsuit.
Far Cry 3 was
a
revolution.
Dude, I mean, the way he uses the grappling hook is already kind of like.
I don't have that. Is it not good? Good.
No, it's awesome. I love the grappling hook.
Yeah.
But it's not. It's like you're like, okay.
Can you grapple down?
Okay, Jin.
Can I jump off?
Oh, the cool thing is if there are rappel points, like, yeah, what you do is you jump off the cliff and then you hit R2 and he grapples and you literally are like physics-based rappelling. It's really cool.
Okay.
It's Uncharted 4, Brad.
It's really cool. I like
the exact grapple system.
Does this game have anything like you should beeline through the story till you get this?
I think
Probably the grappling hook.
I think you should do is the grappling hook you get at the end of Act 1. Before you go,
whatever charm
but you
Nick
need
has
to
that doubles your pickups. That one's pretty good.
Any of the mythic quests, like any of like the legendary quests, you should do as soon as you can.
Although the longbow, I like using the bow in close quarters, and you can't do that with the longbow.
You still have your short bow.
There is a charm that you can earn that actually makes all parrying and blocking easier. I do recommend that.
Does it raise the window for the perfect parry?
There are times.
Okay,
perfect parries and perfect
dodges.
Are
we going to talk about this next week?
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah, I do want to ask one more question before we stop.
Okay.
Is anybody playing in Kurosawa mode?
No, but I am going to try it before we record our discussion for the video, Crispy, because I do.
I did a little bit, Crispy. The nice thing is you can just turn it on and off whenever. It's not like you have to restart the game. So I've done it a little bit. Yeah, I like it.
I have a whole thing. About it, but I think it might be better reserved for our Tsushima
video. Cool. Sweet. That sounds good. We'll revisit this game next week. Obviously, we're all enjoying it. We'll be playing it more, and by the next time we talk about it, we'll all be much farther. This was just the first conversation we had, so there's a lot to fucking unpack. So I hope everybody was able to stick with it.
Hey, Nolan, how much Paper Mario have you played?
Not enough because I just want to play Ghost of Tsushima, but I have been playing Paper Mario, the Origami King.
I'll have you know, Nolan, I played an hour today just so I could talk to you about it.
An hour of every video game ever.
So you're still in the tutorial?
I guess, yes.
Yeah,
I'm in that first like wooded area.
I'm the first boss, Nolan.
I have almost beaten the first boss.
Wait.
He probably has 2 more hits left on him. Like my Switch is in standby mode.
I have a
first
question,
boss.
Nolan.
What's up, Nick?
I'm kind of like going through this early stuff and trying to get a feel for what this game is structured like, because I still don't really know. Are each of the individual colored streamers like? Are those kind of like areas that you have to go to like break the castle?
Yes.
Okay, that's kind of what I was thinking.
Yes. He's not far enough yet, and I'm not far enough yet. You actually play quite a bit before you get to destroy that first streamer. When you say you're on the first boss, are you on the turtle or the color pencil?
Yeah, turtle.
Okay.
Turtle.
Okay.
Have you beaten the turtle, Brad?
Yes, I beat the turtle and I beat the color pencils, which is.
How'd you gotten so far? It takes like an hour every time you get in a conversation with a fucking toad. That's my biggest complaint about this fucking game.
Thank you,
Nolan. Like every time a text box comes up, I just fucking want to sigh and walk away just because there are so many. And fucking Olivia is constantly telling me shit. Oh, and it's a Mario game and it's a Nintendo game. So they just assume their players are 2. And so they literally have to spell everything out. But that's been one of my biggest frustrations about this game is just like the constant like reminders and pop-ups and like slowing down. What's up, Brad?
The problem with the series is that everything moves too slow, and and this series is very talky, and that's where a lot of the charm comes from. The writing is supposed to be
no. Yes, I agree with you. The toads are charming. Yeah, they definitely are.
It's too slow. Everything could be sped up, and this game would be so much nicer.
The first thing I did in this game was go into the settings and try and find a mode that lets you speed through the dialogue faster, and it's not fair.
Dialogue itself, you should be able to like. There's a lot of little things. David's been playing. I've been talking to him a little bit, and like we agree on a lot of this. And it's there are little things that they do that don't need to be there. That could make like combat so much breezier. Like the combat in the system is relatively unique, and he's probably going to get into it. It doesn't even feel like an RPG. It feels kind of like a puzzle adventure game because you're not really leveling up your character. You're just getting coins and when you get into combat, you're just solving puzzles. But it takes a while. Like well,
dude, I get flustered in those puzzles sometimes. I get flustered because like reasoning, the countdown starts going, and I start freaking out. I'm like, oh god, what if I do this? And if I do this, and then I do it wrong, or like the thing is, like, I'll submit my answer when I still have 20 seconds left. Yeah, just because I'm fucking scared I'm gonna run out of time.
You know how to
I know, yeah.
So my question,
and I also have the upgrade that gives me more time, the accessory that gives you more time in puzzles. What's up, Nick?
So my question is, because I've only done like the first few battles where it's teaching you how
the puzzles get harder.
Okay, so because I did this where it's like you have to line up the enemies, and I was like,
the first several are just dumb easy. Okay, but they start getting like tricky. Oh fuck, like what? Like, and it's one of those things where the solution is fairly simple. It is just the fact that there are, there's no longer 4 enemies on the thing, or 6 or 8, but there's like 16 or something like that. There's quite a few. Yeah. And knowing which ones to move and where to put them, and if I just shift this over by 1 and then slide it up, I'm done. But when every enemy is kind of strewn about, that can be difficult. Yeah. And 30 seconds is kind of a long time, but then when you think 30 seconds, you think that's fast. But then when you're in the moment, like it's
something money.
Yeah, it is. You'll get to a point, Nick, where you can add more time, essentially spend coins to add more time.
Watch this footage. You see how it says Mario's turn? Like, there's elements that they could remove from the battle system to speed it up. Mm-hmm. So it doesn't, every little step doesn't take so long. That would make battles like so much breezier, but it would also allow them to maybe like put more enemies in there, do more turns, have other waves,
have more waves. I would prefer a quicker process with more waves as opposed to just like it's very slow and like I don't need the animation of if I hit the enemy outside of combat for me to hit them in combat and then everyone run in. Just have them there. It's like one of those things where, I agree with you, Brad.
Also, this game needs a fucking sprint button. Oh my god!
Something to Brad, do while you're walking. You can buy coffee from that one guy, but you have to use it immediately, and then it's over in like a few seconds.
That's one of my big problems with this game is that it's so trying not to be an RPG that it doesn't. Everything you get in this game is like limited use, which is frustrating. You get you get upgraded, like you get items and stuff, right? But you also get like tools. You have your hammer and you have your boots that let you jump and hammer, right? But then you get like spiky boots and shiny boots and like better hammers, but they all have limited uses. And it's like, don't design your game like that. Well, what's the fucking point of that? You just run into issues of like, oh, I guess I should save this, or I guess I should buy extra. And it's like no one likes to play a game that way. I just don't understand.
Brett, what do you do with the used? Like I have like 2 used pair of boots and they're just still in my inventory. Like what do I do with them?
I don't used?
Yeah, there's like an X on them. Like I can't.
Oh, like they were like spiky boots that wore out.
Yeah, but they're still in my inventory.
I'm guessing you can repair them,
but you can equip.
I'm curious, but you can buy more. I don't know. Like I don't know.
It's strange. I also have like consumable items that are like rotten or something. I guess I didn't use them fast enough.
Question.
I don't know what to do with those.
What's up, Nick?
Speaking as someone who's this is my first Paper Mario game, which I know is a travesty. This shouldn't be my first exposure to this series, probably.
Well, yeah, maybe that's true.
I mean, I haven't played Thousand Year Door, so that in and of itself is probably a big problem. But so what was the controversy specifically about the battle system?
This is not an RPG. Well, first of all, it's not even close to an RPG. So the Mario, like the older Paper Mario games and the old Mario RPG, it's just sort of like a turn-based fighting. I mean, RPG where your characters are on one side, they're on one side. You do your attacks, and your special attacks still require like the timed button presses to do extra damage, and defense still requires you to press a button to defend well. But other than that, they kind of flowed like a normal JRPG. Like ever since Super Paper Mario, they've been trying to like find ways to like mix it up. This is sort of the series they use to kind of experiment with new ideas. But when doing that, they've gotten more away from a traditional RPG to the point where you're not even getting like experience and stuff, and you're not equipping badges and stuff like you used to.
I would 100% take the old style.
Yeah.
Like what was the Mario and Luigi Bowser's Inside Story?
Bowser's Inside
like that.
I have played
like
that.
That style.
Oh, you played that?
Yeah.
That's also very, like how Paper Mario combat used to be.
Yeah, old school Paper Mario was like that. And that combat is so much better than, don't get me wrong, these puzzles are fine, I guess, but I very much prefer, like it's very satisfying that the fact that you can kind of, and while you can in this, like block enemy attacks, it was always satisfying to, when a Goomba rolls at you in those, to jump on them, getting all the timings correct and stuff, because it took that old school RPG where it is turn-based, you can't, like in this, you can finish every battle in one turn.
Yeah.
Like if you do the puzzle correct, it's over in one turn.
I don't know if it stays like that, but
and it might not. Maybe after like further on, it will be a little bit different. But like I always preferred, so far at least, the older school where it's a turn-based thing. It is I can't defeat them in one turn. It's just impossible. That's not how it should work. And I don't know the decision behind that. And I guess the difference here is like, oh, well, there's multiple waves, so the battle lasts multiple turns. I don't know.
I feel like there's not enough verbs in this game. I think I complained about that in The Last of Us a little bit, but in this game, the issue is you're either finding toads, or you're getting into fights, or you're throwing colored paper, and that's kind of it, right? You're filling it.
I do like the feeling of throwing the colored paper.
Yeah, it's nice.
I know it's dumb, but it
could probably be
like when he does the little thing and you like throws it up, and I don't know. It's just
it's a weird.
It's nice
to be going.
Nick, the problem is later on you're going to encounter a lot of stuff that doesn't take 2 throws or 3 throws, but it takes like 4 throws or 5 throws, and it gets a little frustrating when it's taking that many throws to fill in the not a hole or whatever.
So the other big thing that I guess is different from the regular combat are the boss battles, and I've done a couple of them so far. I think Nolan's on the first one, but that it's still a puzzle game, but a different kind of puzzle game where all the rings have like little arrows and power-ups on it, and you're trying to create a path for Mario to move down the rings to get to the boss in the middle.
In regular encounters, you are moving the enemies to make it more conducive for you, versus boss battles where you're moving essentially you to make it better on the boss. So instead of moving the rings to get enemies in a good position, you're making a path to a certain part of the boss where you want to hit them.
Interesting.
And the turtle is relatively simple. When you get to the next boss, Nolan, it gets a little more complex where it's a thing of colored pencils, and it shoots the colored pencils out like missiles. And during the ring turn where you're charting your path, there are areas that are going to get shot if you run along them. So you're trying to avoid those as well. And it gets more complex in general in terms of how you hit the boss and when you hit the boss. And it's just honestly kind of tricky and a lot of fun. And it still has that stress. Did you know I beat 2 boss fights and I didn't know that? And towards the end of the second boss fight, I realized, and it gave me almost a panic attack. But you can not just move the rings, you can also do the vertical movement in the boss battles. And it's like too much information. I don't want to think about it that way. I just want to go around the rings.
It gets intense, and that's where I was saying, where even though I now have the accessory, not in this footage, but since then I've gotten the accessory that expands. I no longer have 30 seconds. I now have 50 seconds. 50 seconds is a very long time to kind of interact with the puzzle and kind of figure out what you want to do. And the fact that you can also undo moves. It took me a while before I realized you can undo moves. Where you can see like, okay, if I do this and this, and then like, no, that won't work, undo it. But still, it still feels stressful having a timer on it. No matter how much time I have, just knowing that I have that timer is stressful. And yes, like you said, Brad, the ability to shift the rings in and out and rotate them, it just adds a whole nother layer of complexity.
If you're bad at that spatial reasoning, this game is just going to be obnoxious because it's either like too easy or it's just like, I don't see it. I don't fucking see it.
Yeah, it's like the Matrix. When you see it, you're golden. But if you don't, you're like, what the fuck's going on?
You know,
I thought a trickier one, I guess.
It maybe sounds like we don't like this game, but
no.
That's the case. I mean, I'm just.
It was real boring.
I'm looking at chat. I mean, I'm looking at chat, and I'm just wondering if I don't want to I certainly don't want to give that impression because I do want to play more of this game.
Toads everywhere, though. I got an accessory that rings a bell when there's a toad nearby, and it rings the bell every 2 feet. There's so many toads, you don't even
realize.
There's
a lot of toads.
I haven't even gotten to the point where I'm looking for toads yet, so that tells you.
So many. There's so many. You know, but they could speed that up.
Nick, you see that dog? You see that dog right there? That's not a dog.
Yeah,
what is it?
Toad. Any piece of single piece of
everything's a toad.
Is a toad. He's gonna hit that dog with a hammer, and it's gonna turn into a toad.
Everything's a toad.
Oh my god, you're not even lying. It's exactly what happened.
The writing is always funny, and it's like if I could move around while the thing's talking in my ear, maybe I'd be a lot happier. There are some times when your little sidekick character,
Olivia,
talks in a bubble as you're moving around, and it's like, oh my god, this is revolutionary. Where she's talking to you and it doesn't stop you. It's rare when it happens, but when it does, you're like, oh my god, this technology. I like that side character. She kind of reminds me of the little fairy character from Puppeteer, Picarina. She reminds me of that.
Yeah.
She just got a good-natured attitude, and
she's nice. She's like friendly, and like you said, the writing is clever and witty, kind of. And so, that first toad you interact with, not first one, but I think when I go to this next area, I interact with a toad who I was in the last footage, whatever. He thinks he's like the Luigi of toads or something like that, and he's like, "Is this what it's like to be like the Luigi of toad?" I don't know. It is interesting, like writing. I guess they definitely spent a little bit of time, but I just wish I could get through those dialogue boxes.
Did you do the flagpole?
I think we live in we live in this post.
I think I do it in this footage. What's up?
We live in this like post Breath of the Wild world where we kind of we now know that Nintendo can do like truly interesting they can make improvements, like significant improvements on the games that they make, and they have it in them to make these like really great quality of life improvements to their games. And it's just like everything outside of Breath of the Wild, they just haven't really done that with yet.
Quality of life thing. Why is there no voice acting in this game?
Oh god, here we go again.
No, I mean seriously, you have all these like wonderful like cartoony characters that are saying all these funny things.
You know what it is, Brad?
It'd be so nice if you could actually. I mean, this is Henry's watching this and he doesn't know what they're saying, and that's frustrating because it's colorful and it's childlike, and you have to be able to read to play it, and that sucks.
They're putting Mario on a pedestal, man. They don't want he's such an ingrained, iconic character. If they ever gave him a voice where he like
Mario
actually
doesn't have to talk, he doesn't talk. He's like Link. He's a silent
any character in Mario. Like if you give them a voice beyond just like the little like such flourishes they already have,
dude. That's what they said about Zelda until Zelda started talking, and they're like, okay, I guess this is fine. It's a fucking cop out. They're like,
I was just making up an answer for you, Brad. I didn't really.
No, I know, but it's a bad one. It's honestly, I think way more people would be playing the Mario RPG games if you didn't have to read slow text boxes for however many fucking hours this is, because it is a lot of them and you can't move.
I mean, I think it just comes down to at the end of the day that Charles Martinet, they just pay him by the word he says, and they can't afford his rate.
Also,
no offense to Charles Martinet. I thought it was Martinet. Whatever. No offense to him. What else is he doing besides Mario and Luigi and Waluigi? Does he do other stuff?
I think he just lives off of royalties.
Mansion.
Well, but that's what I'm saying. Like, could they not afford to give him a few bucks to have him say like more than 2 words in this game?
He might do more.
No, like I said, nothing against him or anything. But yes, I agree with Brad to an extent that like, there are a few lines that get said, like, oh no, like they were like the random stuff.
What?
But
Sorry, I just pulled up his Wikipedia page, and he was on 2 episodes of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure.
Okay. All right. Well, there you go.
And that's it.
But anyway, I agree with you, Brad, that would just add one more element of quality to the game. That would make the long dialogue boxes not feel as long as if they were being voiced. But when I'm just reading it and they're going very slowly, it gets cumbersome. And it does get annoying. There is a part, Olivia is there to help. And so you can press a button and she'll pop up and be like, oh, maybe this is what you should do. In the first area, or not first area, when you get to the castle and like you find Luigi's hat and you're looking for Luigi, I got kind of confused. I didn't know what I was supposed to be doing. Yeah, me too. Like every time I asked Olivia, she was like, let's not forget about Luigi. And I'm like, yeah, I fucking know, but where? Like in reality, the answer was, oh, he's in that vase over there that I didn't know I could go and break. But it's like, how come every time I asked Olivia, she couldn't have been like, check out that face. But instead, she was just like, don't forget about Luigi. And I was like, I fucking know. Like, the helpful character is not being fucking helpful. Yeah. I don't know. Like, there are not many times where I get like confused in this game so far. Like the puzzles aren't so complex, but there have been a few times where I've like literally not known what to do. And the helpful stuff has not been very helpful to me.
Gotcha.
The 3 games that Charles Martinet has voiced that are not Mario in like the past 10 years are Runner 2, Runner 3, and Skyrim.
Narrator.
What? One of these is not like the other. What
he was Parthenax, the dragon in Skyrim.
Residence of Fate.
He was a dragon?
He was Parthenax. He's one of the dragons that teach you some words.
It's mostly Mario, though. He is not a prolific voice actor.
That is.
But there's a lot of Mario things.
All right, guys, we need to take a break, and when we come back, we're gonna dive into this Xbox game showcase and talk about that stuff. So if you're watching us live, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Hey guys, welcome back to the show. We're gonna get right into it. We don't have all the time in the world tonight like we normally do, so we're gonna jump right into today's big news, which was of course the Xbox Games Showcase. This was Microsoft's opportunity to focus on games, focus on software for their upcoming hardware, because of course we are expecting
to focus on all the games coming out on PC.
Yes. Okay. And first of all, that's a good starting point, Nolan. But I also feel a little bit of, that was very negatively tinted there. But to be honest, I was really happy about this because more than anything, today's presentation to me reaffirmed that I don't need an Xbox Series X. I have a PC, but that's okay because that hardware that they're selling, that they're about to release, is not necessarily for people like us who have the PCs. So I think
for people who don't have PlayStations, they buy one console and it's usually an Xbox.
I mean, it's for any number of people, but I think at the end of the day, it's also ultimately come down to there are people who are just never going to even entertain the notion of building a PC, and that's fine. So the fact that I going into this, I now know all of these games that they talk about today, the ones that I'm interested in, I can still play even if I decide not to shell out the cash for a new console. I consider that to be a great thing.
What are some of those games, Nick?
Also, all the games that they showed off are coming to Game Pass.
Right.
That's an important thing too.
So they're all free if you have a subscription.
Correct.
Relatively inexpensive.
So let me preface this by saying
They're all
I
free if you
wrote
pay for
down
them.
while we were watching the show, I just jotted down the names of the games that stuck out to me as games that I think we as a group
I have
here
everything here if you want to.
Fine,
Do it
read
that
your
way.
list, bitch.
Okay. Well, we start with Halo Infinite.
Okay,
What do
first of
y'all
all, you
think
skipped the entire pre-show,
Pass.
and one of the two big games came out of the pre-show that I think are worth mentioning. Not
Big
big
game?
games.
Okay.
Elden
Well,
Ring?
No, yeah, horse's ass.
Oh, the new Dino Crisis.
Do you not want to talk about Ballin Wonderworld, which I think was one of the biggest surprises of today's
Then why
show?
was it not on the showcase?
What is
I
it?
didn't watch the pre-show.
Is this what this conversation is going to be, Brad? Is
Hold on.
It
that's
wasn't
a
on the
legitimate
showcase.
question. If it's
It's
one of
it
the
wasn't
cool
on the showcase because they only had a certain amount of time they were going to devote to this thing, and they
But-
couldn't. Everybody couldn't get in on it.
But let's
Who
be
fucking
clear.
knows?
Let's be clear. This was not on Xbox's stream at all. This was only on the.
But
Kiwi
you're the
thing.
only one who cares about that. Jeff Keighley put on this pre-show. Certain developers and publishers gave him games to talk about and to debut for the first time on his pre-show.
I know.
Microsoft did not do a pre-show.
I know. What I'm saying
Xbox
is,
was
if this
tweeting
game
about
looks,
games that were announced on this pre-show. So who cares if it wasn't on Xbox's channel?
look, I'm not.
Channel.
I don't.
This
care,
was the pre-show.
But why?
Why are you
Why
making
do
a
you
big
think
deal out
this-
of that?
Because you said it looks so cool. I've seen other people today say that's like one of the coolest things they saw today.
Ball and
Why do you
Wonderworld?
think that Microsoft made the decision not to put this in their main showcase?
Well, I know what you're going to say, and you're probably right. But Microsoft has a history of not focusing necessarily on platformers or Japanese developed games, or maybe especially when it's a combination of both. I don't know. Like, that's not necessarily their target audience for their platform. A lot of their
they have had some success, like showing off, some, especially with the start of the 360 and.
I don't want to lob. I don't want to make umbrella statements about groups of gamers depending on what console they buy. I don't want to say like if you buy this system that you're only into this kind of thing, or but part of me does feel like there's a certain nugget of truth to the idea that maybe people who gravitate towards Xbox are less interested in this kind of game than people who maybe gravitate
You
towards
say that,
PlayStation.
but what about stuff like The Gunk, which is also like a, more indie, and childlike or something.
They're making a push towards showcasing indie games.
Or
I mean,
And-
also
or even-
think about the fact that the vast majority of the titles they showed today are first-party titles and games that they're publishing.
Yeah,
Okay,
Well,
let's
there's
talk about
first-party
Valorant.
titles because Microsoft bought up all the
Right.
studios.
but that still makes them Xbox properties now. So
Yeah.
Correct.
every game that was shown today was by a studio that is now owned by Xbox, or at the very least is part of their Xbox. What do they call it? The Xbox indie. What is it?
Partners or I can't remember.
Somebody
Whatever it is.
somebody in chat knows the name. Knows
They're
what I'm
indie
talking about.
program.
so Balan, what is it called? Balan
Wonderworld is from the creator of Knights.
Well,
and it's
and Sonic, right?
And
I mean,
creators
Yuji
of
Naka?
Knights and creators of Knights and Sonic partnered with Square Enix, third-party publisher, to release a game for PC and Xbox Series X, and that's what they showed today. I'm guessing it wasn't. Now that we've talked about it, it sounds to me like it probably wasn't in the actual showcase because it wasn't a first-party studio. It's being published by Square Enix, but it's being made for these platforms that are Microsoft.
So it was only first party at the Xbox.
Yes,
thing?
Unless I'm forgetting something, everything that was shown today was by a studio that is either owned by Microsoft or is part of their indie showcase or their indie program that they have.
Because that
Like,
Image
there were
Informed game.
were two games they showed off, I think, that weren't first party. One of them was Stalker 2, and I forget what the other one was.
What about the Gunk?
Who made? I can't remember who.
They said from the creators of SteamWorld. I don't know if that's
Yes.
actually Image Inform or if it's the fucking.
I will look it up for you. Keep
It
talking.
is from
You know,
Image
like-
Inform.
like Carlos's joke about the janitor that was worked in the building when they made BioShock has his own game from the creators of BioShock or something to that effect.
I am on
The-
Image
the
Inform's
Gunk is from
website, and the
Image
Gunk
Inform.
is top.
It's
yeah,
okay.
it's
So
top
Image
of the
Inform,
page.
they're not owned by Microsoft, but they're. Well, we'll get to the Gunk. Let's start with Halo. What'd y'all think of
So
Halo?
once again, Brad, I brought it
Ooh.
up as kind of like a tongue-in-cheek thing, but what I will say is everything that they showed, like a bunch of those titles, were like Xbox timed exclusives. So the Gunk is coming to Xbox, probably PC, before it will probably eventually come to like
Okay,
PlayStation 5.
I could believe that. The Balan
honest,
game. Well, I mean, is there much
before
to
we
say
get
about
to
that?
Halo? I'm kind of surprised because I saw when they first started showing gameplay of Balan Wonderworld, and I kept thinking to myself, this is like a Brad game. Like it's Japanese. It's a platformer. I mean, what do you want me to say? I mean,
No,
you
it's
like
fine.
Japanese platformers.
I
don't
mean,
you?
or it's a Chris Davis game because it kind of looks like a Hat in Time.
It
where
does look like a Hat in Time.
It's colorful and stuff, but it's still a little janky. Like there's some missing effects or animations. Like you could tell it's indie, very indie.
Like, I saw
it's
that
not-
trailer, and the first thing that went through my head was, are we sure this isn't from the same team that made World of Final Fantasy? And that game looks...
World
ugh.
of Final Fantasy.
Wait,
No.
what?
Yeah,
it is
that's
a
the
Square.
first
This is
thing
a
I thought.
Square. It
I
is a
was
Square
getting,
Enix
like-
game, but yes,
Nah,
this is,
I was getting like Hat in Time vibes, or
Like, I don't get Hat in
like,
Time vibes from that at all.
dude. We're not talking. First of all, I think you're
Because it looks
focusing on-
good, or
I think you're focusing on
Just kidding.
mechanics here. I'm talking literally about like the tone, how colorful it is. Like the character models look very similar to like the approach to the characters in Hat in Time. It just looks very vibrant and happy, and just it's not something I typically associate with Xbox games, to be totally honest. So
What was
that
the
was a
other?
nice surprise to me.
why is she wearing Sora's shoes?
I couldn't tell you. Could not
from
tell
Kingdom
you.
Hearts.
What was the other thing from the pre-show that you wanted to?
Echo Generation, which
Okay, what's that?
I
So-
mean that
so
looks
Nick-
very.
The thing I kind of started to say earlier, but everyone was having a heated conversation. I didn't watch this live just because I was working. I watched the highlights of the show. I didn't realize they showed off stuff in the pre-show that was new.
There's
So
only
I
like
haven't
6
seen
things
any.
in the pre-show, and only a couple of them are worth mentioning. I think really,
Gotcha.
like they showed Dragon Quest 8's coming to Xbox and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, so
8?
8 or 11.
sorry, no, sorry, 11.
Okay.
sorry, I didn't
Jesus
say
Christ, it's a little bit late for that.
Dragon Quest 11.
Tell me about Echo Generation. What's that?
Echo Generation is the one that a lot of people are comparing to. It was. I've seen a lot of people say it's giving them like Mother 3 vibes. I'm
Okay.
guessing.
I'm watching the trailer.
Like
here.
I can't think of the words used. A lot of people often use to describe this like art style, but it's very like
Voxel?
voxel. Yeah.
got
This
like
to
a-
me looked awesome.
It's got a
What's it called? Echo
like a
what?
diorama look to it,
Yeah, and
like the tilt shift.
and a lot of the models and like the monsters that you come up with looked really cool, and it was giving me also like Stranger Things vibes in terms
That
of its like
does look-
soundtrack. It has a really
Well-
unique look to it.
Does look
What was this
really
one
neat.
called, Nick?
Echo Generation.
yeah.
Generation.
I think the characters look kind of dumb, but yeah.
Wait,
mean,
when did they talk about Exomecha?
That was also in the pre-show. That's the one where it was like
That one
like-
wasn't worth talking about, Nick.
I mean, I didn't think
It
anyone was
wasn't
gonna-
worth talking about, Nicholas.
It kind of looks like Halo to me.
Yeah, it looks like a butt Halo, but then at like one point in the trailer, everyone gets in mechs.
Transformers. Yeah,
And-
Don't the mechs look like
they look like
I don't
Transformers.
care. They're
They
they're
look
in
like Michael
mechs.
Bay.
It looks
They look
nuts.
like Michael Bay Transformers or something.
they look
They-
like bad Michael Bay Transformers?
No, they look like fucking. They look like that one robot from Pacific Rim, just like remixed 1,000
yeah.
times.
Is this
All right.
is-
Which
That's
also
all I-
kind of dumb. I don't like that.
It's
I'm a big
I
Pacific
think
Rim
the
fan.
thing that kind of kills it is the fact that it's a free to play shooter.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean,
Made by a
I don't
very
know.
very small team.
Is it a battle royale? Is that what I was?
I think the
Is
implication
this what
that it
I've been talking about all
It is-
along?
It's
Battle
The
Royale
game
with
that
mechs?
needed to exist.
it's
you mean you
pitched
just
to
want
be
Apex Legend to
a-
put mechs back in? That's all.
It just sucks that game that you've been talking about.
I
is
you know
called
I don't
Exomecha.
want that anymore because I don't really like Apex Legends anymore.
All right, for fuck's sake, let's talk about Halo.
Halo.
All right. From now on, Brad's gonna lead this conversation because he has the full list. Halo
Yeah,
Infinite,
and we're gonna talk about Forza, Nick.
Halo Infinite is what they open with, and
This is what they're one of their. I mean, this was their big thing, I guess. Yeah.
yes, I mean
minutes
this is
of
what they've been
gameplay.
using to get people. This is what they got. This is how they put butts in seats, is to talk about Halo Infinite and be the first gameplay reveal.
So what is it? It's an open world Halo, open Halo.
I don't think so.
The impression I get from it is that its approach to world design is very similar to like Dragon Quest's Inquisition, where it's like hub areas that are very large and expansive, and you can explore in any way you want, but they're not connected seamlessly. Because they have specifically avoided saying the word open world.
Wide
I
linear.
think-
Is it wide linear?
but they talk about like expansive vistas and exploration and
but here's what
traversal.
but did you hear what they said? They said that this game is like 4 times larger than or they said significantly larger than their last couple of Halo games combined or some shit
Right.
like that.
I mean, yeah. I mean, when you think about it, especially if you're going to have like however many hub levels to explore, and they're all going to be massive, which is why I keep comparing it to. I'm watching Robin play Dragon Quest Inquisition right now, and I'm seeing how those areas are structured, and that's why I keep thinking.
Carlos in chat mentions Metro Exodus. Is the Metro Exodus?
Yeah, Metro Exodus is
that's
maybe
what I
a
was
more
going to
likely
point to. I think that's more apt a description.
Do we know that, or are we just assuming?
I mean,
so
we have to kind of assume right now, don't we? Because they haven't
you
been
have to
specific
assume,
about
but
this.
There are clues about it. At one point in the footage, the guy playing pauses and it goes to a map and it shows multiple objectives on the map. But if you look at the details of what they're talking about, where they pan around, is that it says there's a missions tab. There's multiple missions you can go on. There's also other objectives that they pan over and away from. So it's implying that, yeah, these are
you can explore these environments,
worlds, but yeah, they're mission specific.
So why do we not just think that this is kind of open world, even if it's
because
I mean,
they've
not...
specifically avoided saying that, and they're choosing to say things like 5 times bigger than our last 2 games combined, as opposed to saying it's open world. Because we live in an age where if you want to communicate what the game actually is, if it's open world, you just say open world.
Dude, this thing I'm reading here says that Halo Infinite will be a true open world.
Where are you reading that? Because I haven't seen that.
Yeah, where are you reading it?
It's this Xbox recap. Oh, I don't know. What is this website? On msft.com.
Lemonparty.com.
Yeah, lemon
is where
when they got into the action, it kind of looked like
world.
When they got into the action, it kind of looked like Halo. I mean, you were fighting grunts and brutes and elites, and
you were fighting elites and brutes at the same time, which they've never done in the series before.
Oh, really?
See, those how many
details have there been?
Like
I didn't play the last couple.
Wait,
they did not reintroduce elites as an enemy until Reach. They stopped doing that after like 2.
Well, I mean, if the apes are with the alien dudes, then
wait,
what?
Yeah, like
they stopped introducing
a lot of interesting stuff in there.
They were definitely enemies in 3.
I'm gonna get y'all over here, guys. Let's focus over here.
Everybody
look over here.
I don't care about Halo.
IGN says Halo's Infinite's open world has upgrades to discover, places to explore.
It's just strange that like they have
GameRant.com is Halo Infinite open world.
Is this not a Destiny?
No. Okay, so and that's the other big thing, because specifically today, one thing that was officially stated was that this is not a game. This is not a service game. But what they did say was that there are currently no plans to make like Halo Infinite 2. The plan is to make Halo like a platform. So it sounds to me like it's going to be a standalone game.
That's exactly what they're saying about Destiny.
Well, I know, but like, as in, you don't have to play online. It's not like you're playing with other people. It's just that like they're making this big game, and instead of making Halo 7, they're going to just make story expansions and build on this.
Yeah,
and they're going to have a battle royale mode.
I don't think that's like. I don't think that means that like, hey, the new content that we create in the Halo universe is going to be just a bunch of like single player story packs that we put on this game. The online is going to be, dude. That's a huge red flag. That's a huge red flag.
How did y'all think it looked in action?
Don't say this, man.
How long did?
That's the speak, man. But
they said specifically it's not it's not games as a service game. It's like that's not what it is.
This might not be
because they're pioneering a new model.
I mean, I don't necessarily.
I think he's right to be cynical. I mean, Halo has to be something bigger than just another Halo game.
So,
and that can't be wide linear.
When asked whether Halo Infinite was an open world game, Crocker explained that it would be somewhere in between what fans expect from a traditional Halo game and the classic open world formula.
Yeah. Okay. So multiple areas or whatever, right? But like what I'm saying, let's say it is open world. Let's say you can go over the whole ring and fast travel, or you could fly a fucking Banshee. which is cool, right?
That
Actually,
would be really cool.
Yeah, Halo's cool. Halo's cool. But my question
Halo's
is,
awesome, but
Halo Infinite can't just be a more open-ended Halo game, right? It has to be something.
I mean, why do you say that specifically?
Because Halo used to be like a synonymous with like video games. It used to be like up there with Mario and up there with.
But why does what you just described not still
if
allow
they're
it to
saying
be that?
Because it's also known for multiplayer. It's also known for being a multiplayer game, and there is no just straight up multiplayer shooters that are like significant these days, unless they're like battle royale or fucking has to have something modern in its multiplayer component, right?
I think
it's got to be a shooter or a battle royale game or some shit.
If 343 Industries is saying that they have no plans to make another Halo yet after this one, and they are focusing on developing content for this, and that's going to be like their main source of revenue, that does not mean 4-hour story single player missions.
Yeah,
that's
not. No, I don't think this is going to. I think this is going
to be a
much
bigger.
No, but like expansion packs. Like,
yeah, that's what you're saying.
I think this is going to be a much bigger single player campaign than what we've had in the past than previous Halo games, and we haven't even seen the multiplayer component. I wouldn't be surprised if the multiplayer component is something.
Let's also not forget how like integrated into the single player experience the multiplayer already was. Like the last couple Halo games were built, campaign modes were built to be co-op experiences. Like they haven't I know, but they haven't made a Halo game that was catered to single player experience first for like 3 or 4 Halos now.
ODST or whatever.
Maybe
I mean,
3.
I think that the distinction is hard to make because I mean, I've played Halo 4 and 5 without really even considering the co-op or multiplayer aspects of them.
No,
so I just
know.
in my head.
But look at the way those games are built. Like nowadays,
multiplayer is what made it.
Now, like there was a certain point where they started making the campaign menu just like the multiplayer menu. It was just how many people do you want to invite, and the list was shorter. It was down to like 4. And you could just launch a mission from there exactly like you were playing. Like what I'm saying is like their whole UX, their whole design philosophy, their whole vision, everything turned towards multiplayer. And then they started making single player an extended product of that. Yeah. And this is kind of more that.
Interesting.
I mean, multiplayer is what made Halo what it was back in the day. Right?
Call of Duty did the same thing too. Everything is like about why these people buy these games, and people buy these games for the multiplayer.
But will it be a shooter? I guess that's the question.
I don't think it will be.
That we have no idea.
I don't want to beat a dead horse, and I know I'm that guy, and I'm sorry. But I'm sitting here thinking about
multiplayer out of Halo.
No. I would never say that. I too, believe it or not, I too love Halo multiplayer when I take the time to actually play it. But like the entire basis of my excitement for Halo Infinite really has nothing to do with multiplayer. The thought of maybe playing an open world game co-op with other people, like Borderlands-esque, running around a Halo world with someone else, sounds cool. But like, I hear things like it's not a service game, and that to me that just tells me it's you can pop a disc in by yourself, play a story mode through an open world, and the multiplayer stuff is separate. We don't know what that is. I don't know how you access it. I don't know how it is intrinsically tied into what you do in the single player. I don't know what form it's going to ultimately take, but it tells me that like this is no different really than like any previous Halo game in terms of how I've looked at it.
Well, for their sake, I hope it is something different. Yeah. Otherwise, people are going to continue to care less and less about Halo from entry to entry, which has kind of been the trend.
I mean, isn't that kind of what happens to almost any series that's been going this long?
No.
Call of Duty's been
doing a Call of Duty is pulling it back. I mean, there are franchises that stay strong.
Are you telling me that maybe this is just me having completely lost interest in Call of Duty a few years ago, but like it seems.
Let me put it to you: Call of Duty's big enough now that they have their own self-funded professional league.
Yeah, I mean Warzone is,
and it's not all Warzone.
Yeah,
I just remember the days when, when we would go to E3 and there would be like, they would always close out their press conference with a Call of Duty trailer. And that's like the fucking hypest shit people had ever seen. People would lose their minds. And I feel like we haven't had that moment in the past like 5 years
because people stopped caring about the single player.
I think the two things of that are we tend to get kind of wrapped up in like the hobbyist view of video games, and that's not always representative of what's actually going on in the industry. Like none of us here have ever played Hello Neighbor, but by the numbers, that's probably one of the most fucking streamed games on Twitch nowadays.
Yeah,
or was for a while there.
Yeah.
And two, I think they've found their audience. They don't really need to spend money to have their game featured as like the big keynote whatever for Xbox or for PlayStation, because they're still going to sell 1 billion fucking copies either way. So why not just keep the money?
Well, good point. I got another point. State of Decay 3. That's a thing.
I mean,
did we think when Microsoft bought this studio that they were just going to keep making State of Decay?
I think it was a safe assumption. What has Undead Labs done other than State of Decay? Have they done?
That's it. That's what they were for.
They are the studio that makes. They bought that studio because of what they did with State of Decay. I think it's a safe assumption they were going to have.
But Microsoft bought all these other studios, and they're all doing different shit now.
I think the whole point
they're literally
with that
called
was Microsoft
Undead
bought them.
Microsoft
bought them to allow them to do what they want to do, and maybe Undead Labs wants to make State of Decay 3.
Yeah.
I mean, they probably have more money than they've ever had now to make a State of Decay game. And it may be a situation of like, we've kind of had the perfect State of Decay game in our minds for so long. We haven't been able to make it, but now it's possible. So like, fuck it. We're just going to make another one.
I mean, this new game might be more in line with their original idea for Class 5 than they never were able to get to.
I do like King Carey's. I like King Carey's description of the State of Decay trailer. Lady yells, zombie deer yells.
Yep. Yeah. It's a different setting and vibe, I guess, sort of.
My hope is
just a little cinematic
that with the bank accounts from Microsoft, hopefully Undead Labs can release State of Decay 3 in a state that I want to play it, because State of Decay 2 did not release in the best state, and it really turned me off on that game. And I understand that it got better. I understand they fixed a lot of the issues, but the ship had already sailed for me.
It needs to come out the gate stronger this time.
Yes, very much. The first game, as buggy as it was, still had a great fucking experience. Yeah. This one, they tried to take it to another scale, but still have like a buggy experience. And it just was, it was too much. There was too many little issues that kind of didn't hook me. And I'm really hoping that that 3 turns that around. Like I said, I'm okay with bugs. I just want it to be a good game.
I'm interested in this.
For sure.
Yeah,
I definitely want to see what it actually
is a new Forza game, but that's fine because they have their audience.
Right. I mean, we all knew there was going to be a Forza game here today. That was never in question.
Yeah, after Forza, they showed... So, by the way, the rest of the show is just teasers, and we don't know what any of these other games are, so we're just going to have to speculate. Starting with Everwild. Looks nice.
Still looks nice, but has pretty much been confirmed, I think, at this point, as basically an MMO.
Wait, they said MMO or multiplayer?
I mean, I've heard the word thrown around, or very MMO-like.
Nick is so poisoned against multiplayer.
I mean, I mean, what do you want me to tell you? I look at this and I think to myself, oh my god, this looks amazing. And then I find out, I mean, like, there's a reason I haven't played Final Fantasy 14.
Or no.
You know what I mean? Like,
you need to get robbed on a PlayStation.
No. You should be thinking more along the lines of maybe Rare's last game, which was Sea of Thieves, and that was a multiplayer open thing. And that's something you might try soon, and maybe you'll dig that.
And I'm not saying I know I'm beating a dead horse here, and I've been doing this podcast for so long, and I've said this a million times. I don't think these games are bad games. I just know, as much as I think they're interesting, I know I will probably never find the time to commit to them because of what they are.
You know what? You don't have a crisis of faith every time I bring up Forza. You do when you see something you like the look of, but you know you don't get to play a single player story.
I know, and that's because I love single player stories. So like, I see something as beautiful as Everwild, and it's from Rare, and I think to myself, oh my god, I fucking want this, and then I find out it's It's just a different focus than what I'm.
So are you confirming that Deep Rock Galactic is not going to make your top 10 this year?
I'm not confirming that. I'm not confirming that.
And
I'm not confirming that. I certainly added that to my list of games that I've played for consideration. And I want to play more of it.
Maybe Everwild will be like Deep Rock Galactic.
I'm not violently, and I'll still probably try Everwild. I'm just, guys, do you know how rare it is for me to find a multiplayer game that I spend long enough time to get enough out of it to consider like one of my favorite games of the year?
Tell me why. Tell me why, Nick.
Yeah, I don't know.
Because
No. That's the next game. Tell me why.
Oh. I hate you. I fucking hate you. I fucking hate you.
This is the new game from Don't Nod.
You piece of shit.
A lot like Life is Strange. This is the one that features a transgender lead character. Or
you know what I thought was interesting, and they
last year.
So
it just looks like Life is Strange.
It does look like that. Honestly, what's funny is I was watching. I was like, "Oh, this is Twin Mirror," and then I found out this is Tell Me Why. I was like, "Wait, they're making 2 games right now? What the fuck happened to Twin Mirror?"
And they're making all of those.
Did Twin Mirror come out and I just didn't know?
No, it didn't come out, but they showed it off fairly recently. That's more of like a crime detective-y thing.
You're right. But what I thought was interesting, and because obviously, like you said, the main character is a trans character, and especially following like The Last of Us Part 2, there's been a lot of talk about. There's been some controversy around how trans characters are represented in these games or whatever. So like their approach to that, because there was a lot of discussion around this game in particular about are y'all treating it well enough? Should you even be doing this? What's your
More
approach?
Are
their response.
Go ahead.
The people on their response to those questions today, I think it was today, after this trailer reveal, was they posted this long thing on their website specifically answering questions about how they're handling that aspect of the story with spoilers, like full game spoilers.
What?
And, yeah, they spoil, like they say this is a spoiler warning. This is how we treat these characters, which I thought was a very strange approach to addressing that issue. But hey,
well,
they seem confident. They seem confident. So
I think Swery already patched the dead naming out of Deadly Premonition too. So
really?
Did you hear about that?
I did not.
I didn't even know that happened in Deadly Premonition 2.
Something to that effect. There was they didn't handle like some transgender issues very well, and Swery already said, I take full responsibility, and we're going to rewrite those scenes, and I think they already patched it.
Wow. That's a fast turnaround.
Well, they took it out.
They just took it out completely.
Or maybe they took it out completely while they work on whatever they're going to replace it with.
Oh,
yeah. I don't know how that works. Interesting.
There's some older games that are getting.
Wait, real quick. Is that Tell Me Why? Is that Tell Me Why game? Is that like episodic?
Yes, it's episodic. Okay. In fact, that first episode's out soon, I think.
Yeah, like end of August. The end of this.
Yeah. Grounded. Well, they just showed another trailer for Grounded. I guess the next thing of note is Avowed.
Yes.
It's the new Obsidian game. They're making an Elder Scrolls knockoff. They just got through making a Fallout knockoff. Now they're making
but it's set in the same world as Pillars of Eternity.
Really?
Yes. Cool. That is confirmed.
That's well, I guess
so odds are it might have similar systems and things like that in there.
That's a cool world. Well, it's not. How can it have similar systems?
I mean,
or you mean like meta systems or whatever?
Meta systems, yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, just make words up. Sure.
Agreed.
Well, no. So, how do y'all feel about that? A Elder Scrolls-y game from Obsidian?
I mean, that was a big surprise from the show because they were Obsidian was up there talking about Grounded, and then they were like, and then all of a sudden it was like, well, we're working on our next big RPG, and then boom, drop this, which was nice.
I don't know, man. Outer Wilds really bummed me out.
Outer Wilds?
I was honestly
Outer Worlds.
Yeah,
Outer Wilds
about that.
Is a bad game.
I was thinking about Outer Worlds today. I don't remember. It honestly probably was the. No, it's because they announced the expansion or whatever.
Paralung Gorgon.
It was a big wet fart for me. Like, I was so excited about that game, and I started playing it, and I was enjoying it. And after about 5 hours, I was like, I'm kind of done with it. Dude,
it's the same thing that everybody, like every review, every video I've seen about this game, like everybody says the same thing of like, this is what I thought I wanted, and I got it, and I don't want it.
Do you think we could be running into
Like,
issues with Avowed?
that's my worry. Because like that trailer was kind of like, like it was cool until like it goes into first person mode and the guy's got like a magic axe or whatever he had. It was like
Elder Scrolls.
It like the first thing I thought was like, oh, fucking, what was that? What was that first person sword and sorcery, like Might and Magic game?
Dark Messiah.
Wasn't it Dark Messiah? It's like, it looks like Dark Messiah.
Dark Messiah is wonderful.
I mean, here's the thing: if they're not,
It is, but it's also like a fucking 14-year-old game.
I want to know what Obsidian can work on that would make it that really would make everybody super excited, because I think everybody assumed if they made a Fallout New Vegas clone set in any setting at all, like people would be like over the moon about it, and I feel like that's just not the case.
I'm interested.
Elder Scrolls in an Elder Scrollsy setting.
Dude, I'm interested in the idea that the studio that made Fallout New Vegas in response to Bethesda making Fallout 3 is making a medieval fantasy style first-person RPG in the same manner that Bethesda did Skyrim and all that. Like, I want to see their kind of take, their freedom and their kind of take on how to do that genre.
I mean, I feel like it's going to be very similar to something like Skyrim.
Aren't thinking about Fallout New Vegas. They're thinking about Outer Worlds right now, and you know that game. Bethesda had a lot of ill will lobbed towards them or whatever, and this game came out and it's like, it's like fucking Fallout without all the glitches, and it's way more interesting than Fallout 76, so fuck all y'all. And then people kept playing the game and they're like, yeah, this is just kind of all right. But if by the time this comes out we're already seeing Elder Scrolls 6,
that's not
have the same benefit of narrative that
I can guarantee you that Avowed is going to come out before even Starfield comes out, man.
I don't know about that, but
there's no way. There's no way.
What's next? What's next
on
the list?
Come out pretty quick, I guess. As Dusk Falls, the game that moves it.
This was
one frame.
One frame per second. I mean, this was very specifically stylized that way to like create like a moving picture book or a moving comic book.
Life is Strange.
This is another game that
interactive drama.
Yeah, this is another game that's kind of going for the same thing as Life is Strange, but albeit with a different visual style. Which I think the visual style is very striking. It looks cool, and it sounds like apparently it's told over like a 33-year period. So you see these characters change and evolve, and the relationships change depending on what time you're playing it, which sounds really interesting. I thought it was, maybe a strange choice for like a showcase where you're supposed to be building hype. I don't think this is the kind of game that like builds hype necessarily, but it looks cool. It definitely looks something I will definitely play.
What about Psychonauts 2? I think what they showed looked cool.
Yeah, it does look cool.
That was interesting. It was very trippy.
Did we already know that Jack Black was involved in that?
No, we didn't.
I don't think so.
He's like buddies with Tim Schafer these days, so I'm not surprised.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, I'm all about it. It's cool. And I like Jack Black, and this looked, crisp and like it looks like it had fun platforming, and it was weird and kooky and over the top. So, I'm all about it. I was kind of expecting like a release date. Still nothing.
Yeah. I wonder. I like to hope that comes out before the end of the year. But maybe they, since they got bought by Microsoft, they're going to take the time to make it look really nice. That what they showed looked really good. So, but man, I hope it's soon. I really want to play Psychonauts 2. I'm just glad it's like stable now, and I don't have to worry about it existing. Stalker 2 got a teaser trailer.
Take it away. Yeah, it did.
I'm actually pretty pumped about this just because I like that setting, and Stalker 2, I'm assuming because we knew this game already existed, right? But this is
but there hadn't been any substantial anything about that game ever since its announcement like 3 years ago.
It's safe to say this is like a open world post-apocalyptic, like
it's a
like and it's the set, and that's in that setting.
The idea is
it's like open world Metro. I'll take it.
Meat on its bones.
I have a feeling it's going to be jank, but
yeah, sure.
I mean, it's GSC Game World. I mean, you got to kind of expect that. But this is entirely. They literally fired everybody, years ago, like 10 years ago, basically closed the company, and then 5 years ago decided, okay, I'm going to restart this studio with brand new personnel. All those guys are pretty much gone. This is basically a new team making a new Stalker.
An old project.
Yeah, this is like when Bethesda made Fallout 3, basically.
And I hate to break it to you, a teaser trailer doesn't do much to.
I mean, it established a lot of stuff,
hype.
man.
Huh?
It established a lot of stuff in there.
Okay. Yeah, but it doesn't establish a lot of faith in the gameplay, which is what we're waiting for. We do need to move on.
I got to get out of here.
Brad's already passed his
game that y'all liked or something.
Wait.
Looked like some Warhammer game that looked like a horror.
Oh,
Darktide?
they announced a Warhammer 40k Darktide, which looks like a fucking first-person like horror game.
Zombie
What
thing.
is Warhammer?
Do you remember Vermintide?
Yeah.
This is their next sequel. This is their next game.
So it's like Left 4 Dead, but instead of with rats,
Yeah.
with
Or like the
40K.
fucking like the Death Angels or Angels of Death or some like there was another 4-player zombie shooting game that was Warhammer. Definitely,
Yeah.
that's what it was called.
Tetris Effect.
Like that.
Tetris Effect is coming to Xbox and getting multiplayer, which is cool, right?
Yeah.
Very nice.
Did I miss anything on like the nature of that multiplayer? Are they doing anything crazy or?
It was kind of hard to glean much from that.
They
trailer,
also
to be
said
honest.
that they're rebalancing the single player, so that'll be good.
The gunk. This is, I guess, one of the surprises of the show, or something, because Image and Form is making something that isn't like I mean, look, I think the SteamWorld games are fucking awesome, right? Especially Heist, especially Dig, right? Those are really cool games, but they're like, pretty relatively low budget indie games that are successful because they have really good ideas and systems and, pretty decent art style. But now they're making a 3D action adventure platformer game where you suck up gunk, and
the trailer didn't do a lot for me personally.
it doesn't say SteamWorld.
Yeah.
But
here's my question about this game,
which is kind of exciting, I guess.
My question about this game is, how many copies do you think David's going to buy and just keep on his shelf?
What does that even mean?
I don't understand that question.
Do you know his latest like
Obsession
masterpiece game?
He
like,
tweeted at me about it. I didn't know what he was talking about.
Best game he's played in years is like the most David game ever. It's Little Town Hero.
That's the one.
Little Town Hero, yeah.
That was that.
That's
Pokemon.
The second game with little. It's like three words. Starts with little. What was the other one?
Little King Story.
Little King Story.
Knows that too. But Little Town Hero, which is like at a 50 on Metacritic or whatever, like people didn't like it, but he thinks it's brilliant, and maybe he's onto something. I don't know. It's got that Toby. What's his fucking name? The Undertale.
Toby Fox.
Toby Fox. Yeah, he did the soundtrack for that, and I don't know. But whatever. The Medium.
This is what I'm very excited for because I like Bloober Team, and it's inspired by Silent Hill and it features Akira Yamaoka music. Today was our first look at
Silent Hill, the game.
No, it's inspired by Silent Hill in terms of atmosphere and tone, but mechanically speaking, totally different. And
yes,
one thing I didn't realize, because they showed a trailer, and you play a psychic medium, and you can go back and forth between two different versions of the world. What I didn't realize is that because all the trailers have been showing like split screen, where you're like walking through the environment, you can see the same environment in two different worlds. I thought that was just to kind of show off the differences between the different dimensions. But no, that's actually how it looks when you're playing.
I would assume there's segments that are all in one or all in one.
Yeah, I mean, you're not
screen. Yeah,
you're not 100% in split screen mode. But when you trigger your psychic abilities, it split screens, and then you can, when you're in the psychic world, you can split yourself from your body, and so if there's a place in the real world that you can't actually access because it's blocked by something, you can actually astral project yourself out of your body, and that and then all of a sudden that side of the screen becomes more dominant, and you're exploring the other dimension. And it looks interesting.
It reminds me of like a PS2 game, but in like, I mean that in the most affectionate way.
So I'm going to throw something out about this game, and I want to hear what y'all think. Do you remember in Dead Space 3, the co-op there, to where one person was playing as Isaac and the other person was playing the other, and the second character saw completely different things, like they were fully hallucinating what was going on in the environment.
Yes.
Can
I
you
do
imagine
remember that.
a really cool scenario in which there's a co-op mode to this game to where each person only gets one perspective, but one
who's the other
person is
person?
controlling. One person is seeing the screen, and they switch off who's playing which reality.
Oh. No, that is a cool idea. What they're going for, though, when you're actually playing it is like controlling, like the synchronicity of like controlling the character and seeing them move in the exact same way in two completely different environments.
I'm just
which is
loving
how they
the
create-
idea of you're in
That-
one reality, a person just walking down a corridor, and the other person in your microphone in your ear just fucking screams because there's a monster on their screen coming right at them.
that you can't see. That would
That
be
you can't
cool,
see.
but I don't think you're going to get that out of this game.
I don't
I'm
think
pretty
so,
sure
but
this is-
I think I want to patent that idea right now.
that could be cool in just about any co-op horror game, but I don't think it's going to happen here. But this
Nick,
game does
you
look
wanna say
interesting.
Something about Crossfire X.
You
It's,
get caught up in the
I don't think we're
Story.
gonna yeah, too. So
the story was written by Remedy.
It's being
But
the single player campaign is being made by Remedy.
It's brown the game though.
It's
like so brown. I don't know. I just didn't like the. It's just so dull looking.
well, you know what's not dull looking, which is bright and colorful. Fable. We finally got the big unveil of Fable. They played like 15 minutes of it. We know exactly what it is. It's finally back. Boom. You know, it hasn't been the worst kept secret of the industry for the past 2.5 years. We now know that Fable is back. It's
Played
called
15
Fable.
minutes of it.
This is a bit
No, they did
Nolan
not.
that Brad is doing.
Brad's being a bit of a bitch.
Gotcha.
Here's
a bit
what
of a bitch. Oh, is this good enough? It
well-
doesn't even have a subtitle or a number. They literally put Fable on the screen and said,
maybe that's the
"Use your
title.
imagination, fuckheads."
Let me just
Come on,
tell you
it's been
this.
so long, and they showed nothing.
Brad, there was more talk today after this reveal that it's like people are throwing the word
I'll say that
MMO
word.
around again.
Okay, now here. Okay, I'm going to
Alright.
pause the conversation
It's
real quick.
9:30.
You better not.
Okay, here's the thing. The term MMO has changed in the 20
I know.
years since it has been created. There are so many varieties to MMO and how this is actually implemented that
It's a
just
shooter.
calling it an MMO is fucking
I get
detrimental
this.
because everybody fucking thinks it's going to be a fucking Final Fantasy 14 or a fucking World
People
of
love
Warcraft, and
14.
it's absolutely fucking no.
Chris
calm the
Davis.
fuck
Chris
down.
Davis. Chris Davis. Calm, breathe.
If this is a
Use
Final
your
Fantasy
breathing.
14,
Use your
that'd
breathing.
be- well,
Look who you're talking to. Look who just said this. I'm specifically talking about myself here, which is I just know myself, and if this game is like an MMO in any way, shape, or form, the chances of me playing it go down significantly. Just because the time that you have to invest in those kinds of games to get the kind of return that you're looking for is just too much. It's too high. I don't play it. I don't like if you think I wouldn't ultimately like Destiny, you're crazy. I probably would. It seems like it's right up my alley. But the amount of time that you have to devote to it to really get to the meat of it and get what you want out of it is just too high. And I have too many other things that I'm also really excited to play.
Yeah,
so I just choose not to.
And
I think
That's what I don't
think
want for
you're-
Fable.
I don't, and that, here's the thing. So
we didn't want that for
since
KOTOR
that
either.
came out,
No, I didn't want. I like KOTOR is. I would have fucking loved to play KOTOR, but I can't do it. I can't fucking do it. And I'm not saying Fable is going to be like KOTOR because, or sorry, what was it? The old, yeah, sorry, the Old Republic. Like I know this is not going to be that. It's not a simple answer.
You were saying something that you think this might be something like The Division.
I had an idea, because if you go into Reset Era and you talk about people who've actually know about this project and they're giving little hints, they're saying very specifically very MMO light, and what that seems to me, part of the concept of the Fable series is that there is a heroes guild in Albion, that people are dispatched on missions for the people to kill monsters, to do anything. I'm picturing a scenario, since they're pitching this game essentially as a soft reboot in a way, that you play as a member of the Heroes Guild and you are dispatched on missions throughout Albion in the same way that the gameplay systems and mechanics of the Division series feature a large single-player environment where there are only set areas where you will encounter other players and you can call those players in for cooperative play. That's what I'm pitching.
You very well could be right.
So
you very well could be right. And
like Microsoft doesn't want to make another Fable game; they want to make money.
Well, yeah,
which is fair. I mean, Fable couldn't have just come back and been another Fable game.
If it's a 40-hour RPG that just happens to have like what are you asking? What are you saying that Microsoft is going to go for with this?
I mean, how does the Division make money?
How do you think they're going to make the money?
How does the Division make money?
Microtransactions.
The two things that the Division has done for money, number one is like apparel loot boxes only. There's no other gameplay content that you can get through that, just for apparel visual stuff, and then a single standalone purchasable expansion to the game. That's all they've done.
So this is what I think Microsoft is going to do. I think they're going to do loot boxes and expansions.
Like when you say loot boxes, what does that mean?
What did you say about apparel based?
Apparel, like visual clothing that you can purchase on your character, or that you can just unlock by fucking playing the game.
They're gonna have loot boxes in this new Fable that have condoms.
Well, I think what they're gonna do is have apparel based loot boxes.
Okay, then that's fine. If it's a 40-hour RPG that's in there, sure. What?
I did not. Dude, I did not mean to. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm just gonna not. So funny I'm shutting my mouth. But
it's so funny. This industry, the way it goes, is we can't have these conversations anymore. If Nick's gonna be a part of it, this is the narrative thread that is the through line of every single one of these showcases. Is Nick having panic attacks about, oh my god, they're turning it multiplayer, which is funny, but it's predictable and it's never gonna change because it's never gonna be like Grand Theft Auto. San Andreas comes out and it sells 1 billion copies and Rockstar doesn't have to worry about money ever again, right? We're living in a post GTA 5 online world, right? And it's never going to go back to that. It's never going to go back.
I'm so tired of people hearing even the hint that multiplayer is a primary aspect of a game.
But see, it's just,
and I'm so tired of it happening. So what do you want me to tell you?
I'm saying Nick doesn't represent that many people. I don't think.
I'm in the minority here, bro.
Well, people might be upset, but it's because they have these beloved franchises that are gone a long time that they love. They have a lot of nostalgia for, right? Didn't you say you were a Fable fan earlier today?
Yes.
Me?
Okay. So they're like, oh, it's finally coming back, this thing that I love. And then all of a sudden it's morphed into this other thing that's tied to all these like negative things of big fucking executive rooms finding out how to drain us of every last cent. And it's like, well, that's not like this thing I played when I was fucking 15, right? Because everyone's favorite game is the one they played when they were 15. It's something different. And it's something scary, and it's something that's tied to the worst aspects of this industry. And we're not all Nick, but there are a lot of cynical, jaded people who want the thing like they used to remember. And those people are also, have valid concerns.
Brad, those valid concerns aside, I kind of agree. I don't want it to go online just because it has its own issues. But all I know is if I can't plant an acorn and have a tree grow by the time I'm done playing the game.
That my son grows up and chops down.
I feel like World of Warcraft figured that out though, right? Like phase based or something. Just have the acorn grow instanced.
We need to move on. That was a perfect way to cap off the conversation. No.
So can I give my final thoughts before I bounce?
Sure.
No.
I think this kind of sucked, right? It was just mostly teasers and information that we had to, find out on Twitter from Nibble and Nibble. Is that how you say his name? And
I always say Nibble, but
Nibble and Wario on Twitter. Other than that, we just got a bunch of teasers and some Halo gameplay. It looked like Halo, so I was kind of disappointed. But maybe the gunk is going to be dope.
The gunk is like the one thing that I watched, not the one thing, but like easily one of the most forgettable things.
Character design. That's fine. That's fine, Nick. But image and form, it's nice to see they're doing something new. That's exciting.
I'm excited for its potential.
Yeah, where was Japan? I think people thought like for sure there's going to be like maybe
Still
some Capcom announcement or just something like, you know, there was no Elden Ring. A lot of people thought maybe Elden Ring would be here for sure.
Because they weren't doing third party.
Hill,
it was not. This was not for third party multi-platform stuff. They said from the very beginning it was a first party showcase.
Did they say that? I mean,
yeah.
Is the gunk a first party game?
I don't know.
You know,
Nick doesn't like the character design in this.
I didn't say that. He's putting words in my mouth again.
The answer is no.
He's putting gunk in his mouth.
The answer is probably no. I don't like the character design.
Why? Oh, Nick, you just don't like things that are interesting.
That's very true. I do.
Show a trailer with HUD in it, or at least talk about your game, or just these teasers.
I mean, it is frustrating to know that like
so much.
The two biggest question marks of the show were Everwild and Fable. And I want to be excited. Teasers would be fine if I was confident I knew what they were.
Yeah.
But I don't.
Well,
and they're being very coy about it.
When you don't know what they are, they're Anthem.
Oh no.
Anyways, I'm gonna bounce, guys.
Anthem's like the poster child for why I freak out when I hear
really, the thing that's like kind of galling about Anthem is everybody's like, oh, it's a fucking bullshit loot shooter online bullshit, blah blah blah. And it's like it came out and it face planted because it's terrible, and everyone's like, see, knew that was gonna happen. Nobody, that was not the slam dunk that everyone thought it was. I don't know. I really think that they failed spectacularly hard.
They did,
like weirdly hard, and everyone just kind of took it as like a given that it was gonna be that bad.
Right. You're right.
Which I don't buy it. That
I
was
believe
tragic. That was tragedy.
So unless y'all have any objections, because we talked for like 2 hours about Ghost of Tsushima, why don't we answer a couple questions and then wrap up? Because Brad just ghosted us. Brad just ghosted us on the podcast. Brad says goodbye, everybody. Are y'all okay with this plan? We're gonna just kind of adapt here on the fly.
Sure.
Wonderful.
Do it.
All right.
I don't like it, but go ahead.
Why do we have so many questions from Thorax?
Okay, Thorax went on like a tangent where he asked like 1,000 questions. We obviously don't have to answer every single one of them. So, Brett or Nolan, I'll let you use your discretion here as to which questions we actually answer.
Let's get to some questions from our supporters on Patreon and Twitch.
Let's do it.
First question this week. We'll do one from Thorax. Maybe just once a week we'll get a Thorax.
Until we get through all of Thorax's questions.
So first question. Seeing that Hideo Kojima and Neil Druckmann tend to insert themselves into their games, who do you think has the bigger ego? Kojima
for sure.
100% Kojima.
My question is the Neil Druckmann inserting himself into his games solely from the fact that he
put that card?
Because he's on the card, but like there's a lot of I'm pretty sure every card in The Last of Us 2 is referencing a member of the development team.
Somebody, yeah.
Like I think they all like Haley.
Maybe
Gross
Thorax means that Neil Druckmann tends to put his heart and soul into his game. I don't know.
Unlike Hideo Kojima,
bleeds on the game.
I mean, I think Hideo Kojima has the bigger ego, but he's also part of his charm. I mean,
he's more of the personality. Like he's you've got like the whole film director thing, but for video games.
When you play when you play a Naughty Dog game, you know it's a Naughty Dog game. You don't necessarily know what Neil Druckmann's involvement in it is. When you play a Hideo Kojima game, it doesn't matter like whether it's for Kojima Productions now or from an old Konami game. You know Kojima's involvement, and you pretty much know when like a decision was made, a creative decision was made, and you're like, oh, that's so Kojima. Like you can pinpoint the moments, the things, the features in games where you're like, that came out of that dude's head. And he knows
that at this point, every single fucking thing that he's making, every single thing in there, he's pressing a button on.
Like all of Death Stranding is like, oh, this is totally something born out of Hideo Kojima's.
Oh my god.
Sorry, that might be hyperbolic.
That's a huge discussion about auteur theory, and the main takeaway should be that it's mostly bullshit.
Gotcha.
So
I
don't know that I would like, especially it's bullshit when you're talking about movies when you have dozens of people working on a movie. It's especially bullshit when you're talking about a video game when you have hundreds of people working on it.
I'm being hyperbolic. So
I don't think we should give too much credence to that. But
I'm just saying.
I would just say, you definitely know when Hideo Kojima's bodyguard body checks you. You definitely know.
Oh, who? Raise your hand. Who here has been fucking stopped by the throat by someone paid to guard Hideo Kojima?
I don't think Neil Druckmann
probably more than just me. But dude, when I saw like Hideo Kojima at E3, his bodyguard like checked me. When I saw Neil Druckmann at E3, he was by himself, and I was like, "Hey, Neil Druckmann." And he was like, "Hey, what's up?" Those are my two stars. I've met both of them, and that's how each one went.
If there's an E3 next year, I wouldn't imagine that would be the same scenario.
Maybe not. I guess definitely after Last of Us 2, probably.
Yeah, things got real after The Last of Us 2. Next question.
All right, next question let's do this one from Neil.
Neil Druckmann?
Neil Druckmann. Time to answer the age-old question. Last of Us 1 or 2? No, I'm just kidding. Do you prefer propane or charcoal? There is only one correct answer.
No, it depends on what you're cooking. Depends on what you're doing.
I mean,
charcoal gives that like smoke, like
okay. Is
flavor,
the question which one tastes better? Because only one of them imparts taste on a food.
Only one of them is a clean burning fuel.
Clean burning.
God damn it!
So I see both sides of the argument. When I think of propane, I think explosions, and I'm like, I'm not gonna die from charcoal.
Chris Davis is. I'm kind of with Chris Davis, but only because anytime I turn on the propane tank in the backyard to grill,
you turn it on with a hammer?
No, I think about the final scene of Final Destination 2 every single time without fail. I know it's bullshit and it's nothing I need to worry about, but every single time. Do you remember what I'm talking about? That movie literally ends with a dude exploding in front of his grill. I think about it every time.
Neil ends the question with Hank Hill is living a lie, so I'm gonna lean towards Neil is leaning towards charcoal.
Hank Hill prefers propane for like cooking steaks and meat on a grill, which is bad.
I have owned both grills in my life. I have owned charcoal grills. I've owned propane grills. What I will say is, for maybe an event, charcoal is good. For hey, I need to cook this real quick, propane's a whole fucking lot easier, because I can go out there, turn on my grill, and within a few minutes I'm cooking, and then I'm done. With charcoal, it is an event. It is you have to lead up to it. You need to get a chimney, and you need to put the coals in there, and you got to get some fuel, like a starter going, and then get it. It is not something you can do. You got to get it
in the mood.
Sure. Yeah. So while I do like that smoky flavor you're able to get from charcoal grilling, propane is just so much easier for me. When I owned a charcoal grill, I used it so infrequently just because it was a hassle. And maybe if I didn't live in Texas, and so when I go outside to grill, it's already fucking 100 degrees, and now I'm standing in front of a grill that's hot, and I'm trying to get it going, and the charcoals aren't the right temperature, and I got them too hot, or now they're too cold. It's just propane's so much easier. Now, maybe if I had like a big green egg, it might be easier because those are a lot more efficient.
Is a big green egg like a brand, or what is this?
It's a ceramic cooker.
It's a ceramic grill.
Gotcha.
They're a lot more efficient than just like a metal domed grill. Kato, I'm doing a podcast, bud.
He's okay.
He doesn't care.
So that's why I just tend to lean towards propane, just because ever since getting a good propane grill, I've used it so much more frequently than charcoal.
Gotcha. Makes sense. Next question.
Right, next question from Fuzzified Feces.
Okay.
Just going to let that sink in.
Fuzzy turd. It's fuzzy turd.
Yeah. What is the most inconvenient circumstance in which you were forced to clean yourself or your clothes?
Oh God.
For instance, one time I had to poo
why
extraordinarily
is this always
bad
poo related?
at a family member's house. A lot of people were over. I got to the bathroom, got my pants down, and started shitting before my ass even hit the seat.
No!
All was fine. It all got into the shit bowl. However, I forgot to lock the door. I got up quickly to lock the door, but unfortunately, it seems I had a turd not completely detached itself from me, and such a rapid acceleration caused the inertia to take effect and said turd as it landed right in my pants. Even more unfortunate, our sticky brown waste snake had little in terms of structural integrity and made itself at home all over and deep within the fabric of my pants and underwear. So that's his scenario.
Nolan, you really went for it. You read every detail of that. Thank you.
Of course. So
what a shitty story.
Yeah, thank you. I guess I've been blessed because I've never in my life shit myself. I know many people who have, and every time,
yeah. That's
well, maybe when I was like a baby.
That's ever.
Let's say post diapers, I haven't.
You're one of the lucky ones. Nolan.
There have been close calls, but I never have.
You know,
there have been questionable farts that thankfully I made out on the good side of. And every time I tell that to someone, they don't believe me. And I'm like, has everyone else in the world shit themselves? Like, am I just that lucky that I haven't? Don't
you
be wrong.
have. You shit yourself so bad that you forgot about
it. Yeah. Maybe that's true. Maybe it was such
your
a
brain
just blocking it out like that.
Yeah. Nobody has not shit their pants.
I've been lucky. Like I said, a few months ago, I was on a run, and there was a fart where I was fairly certain it was going to happen. Thankfully, it didn't.
And you had no idea what to do because it never happened to you before? Didn't know how to handle a poopy in your britches?
Thankfully, I still
This
don't.
question doesn't even necessarily have to be poo related. Like, the answer doesn't have to be poo related. We don't have to go that direction.
But that's like your go-to thing.
Which you had to clean your clothes. So I mean, I guess one for me would be I guess vomit related. Vivid memory. When I was a young man, my mom took me and my sister to like a mega church. That's where we went to church on Sundays in Houston. It was Houston First Baptist, one of like the fucking biggest churches. It's ridiculous. But anyway, I guess it was like a special Sunday school. So we got like Oreos and like soda or something for some reason. I don't know. And so I saved them. I was like, I'm saving these. I'm not going to eat them now. And so on the car ride home, I was like, I can't wait anymore. So I started eating them. And for some reason, like, I was like, I guess I'm going to vomit now. Like, I don't know where it came from. I guess I was sick or something. But we were driving home. Like, the church was like a 20-minute drive from our house. And we were on a freeway, 290 in Houston. You can't exactly, you can't pull over real quick. And so I told my mom, I was like, Mom, I think I need to vomit. And she was like, don't. And I was like,
I respectfully request that you do not.
And so I was like, well, I guess if I'm going to vomit, I'm going to try and get it into the soda can.
No.
And so I tried my hardest to get it in the soda can.
Was it a soda bottle?
No, it was like a can. It was like a can.
Oh, that's even worse.
So I tried, but then the top of the can just acted like a reflector shield and like just splattered it everywhere.
Oh.
Holy shit. Oh my god!
I remember that.
I think he only read this question so he could provide his own answer. Like, no.
I didn't even read the question until like I didn't
wish
even think
I had a
about
story that interesting. I wish I had a story that interesting. In reality, it was. I was younger and I probably shit myself. I have no specific recollection of it, but I'm glad that you had that story, Nolan, because I can picture it vividly in my head. Unfortunately. Illumination is calling
especially because I had just recently eaten Oreos. So I mean, like I was throwing up chunks of Oreos and then they're getting everywhere. Dude, that's the worst part is I've only thrown up a handful of times in my life. I don't know how many. But
shut up.
Why do you people vomit so much?
Because we make terrible decisions, Nolan.
No, you attended the University of Texas. I refuse to believe that you didn't get so drunk that you didn't vomit a few times.
once while I was in school. Nick was at that party.
I do recall.
That was the only time.
I do recall
it's
that
happened,
party. Yeah.
Most of the times I've like had to vomit. It's from like a sickness, not from like drinking. Only twice from drinking. But the worst time was when I was in Boy Scouts at winter camp.
Oh, God,
I don't know if I told this story before.
I don't know.
I remember it vividly. It was December 31st at 1 a.m. 2001. Sorry, I guess it was technically January 1st then. No. It just rolled over to December 1st because we were going home. So it was, I think, 2001. I've been 2000.
Get it right.
So it was the last night of winter camp. So it's equivalent to summer camp, but it's like winter. You just have a week-long stint at if anybody's from the Houston area and was in Boy Scouts or camping, Camp Strake in Houston. And so Scarecrow. So I have told the story before because Scarecrow knows it. That night we all had beef stew for dinner, and it was like all you can eat beef stew, and everyone went crazy, and we loved it. It was really good. And then afterwards, they were like, "Hey, for y'all made it through summer or winter camp to celebrate. We're gonna go watch Ice Age." And so they took us on buses to this kind of like little like a big screening area where I guess they could like project movies. And on the bus ride there, people just started throwing up mid bus ride. And I was like, man, I guess I am lucky because it didn't hit me and everyone else is throwing up. So everyone goes back to their like tents and stuff and goes to sleep. And I guess at 1 a.m. Is when it hit me. And I woke up, and thankfully, because if you've ever been to like a Boy Scout summer camp, you don't have like toilets. You literally have like a toilet seat that's on top of a wooden bench, and it goes into like a hole. Not great. But we were right next to the adult showers. So I just ran over to those. But yeah, both ends. I kept having to switch back and forth. I guess I thought I was lucky because it didn't hit me early, but those kids were lucky because I got out of the system before it made its way partially through.
For someone who hasn't had these experiences often, you certainly have the best stories about them.
Well, because they've happened so infrequently.
They're that much more memorable.
They're gargantuan events in my life.
All right.
But yeah, the worst part was I had to keep switching back and forth. But then like I wanted to like clean out the toilet between each switch. Yeah.
There's no time. Oh my God. Let's answer one more question.
Let's do one more question. Yeah. Next one from the Drunken Merchant. What would you replace physical media with in an all digital world? I'd personally have each game you purchased have a mail-in code for high-quality print of the game cover. Then Sony, Microsoft, Nintendo could sell wall-mounted frames that you could slide several prints into, creating an awesome collage of all the games you've owned. That's a good question. And that's actually something I was thinking about the other day. Because I'm like, PS5, right? It's going to be able to play PS4 games.
In theory.
That's great for all my digital games. But what if I get the digital version of the PS5? What do I do with all my physical PS4 discs? Can't play them.
I mean, are you getting rid of your PS4?
Well, no, that's true. Yes, I would still have my PS4. But I was thinking what would be interesting is if
I think the implication
sort of
is I think the expectation is that you'll be able to put a PS4 disc in a PS5 and play it.
No, but my question is what if I get the digital PS5?
Oh,
yeah.
You fucked.
Yeah, you're boned.
That's what I was saying. Like, it would be nice if like Sony had some sort of like mail-in like program where you could mail in your disc and I don't know, pay like $5 or something, and they verified that it's a real disc, and then they send you like a digital code or something. That would be an interesting thing because I do own the game. I just maybe want to play it on my PS5. I don't know.
I would give all the games out for free.
Because that would be a loss of money.
No.
I kind of wish there was like a system like there was a universal, kind of like Steam the way it is. Like there's a universal account that goes across all the different platforms. That you just like you upload I know Online Pass is like the worst thing to say, but you purchase an online code for a cheaper price than the actual existing game, and you provide proof of purchase for the old version. the disc version.
Well, how do you provide?
Well,
that's what I'm saying. How do you provide proof of purchase that then I can't just like give that to someone else and they can provide it? You know what I'm saying? Like you'd have to have some sort of unique system, and that's what I'm saying. You know, mailing the game to them is kind of that verification. They can just crack the game in half if they want to.
I mean, I feel like the weird answer from coming from someone like me is that you don't replace it with anything. It's kind of all. I mean, if you're going all digital, just go all digital. You know what I mean? Like it's the hassle of trying to like provide somebody with a physical product when you're choosing not to get the physical product anyways.
I don't understand why the whole like unlock the game on my console, because I have played it on the disc. So why do I still need the disc? Like,
I think that's just to prevent people from handing the disc around and like, oh, just everyone shares it. And...
Yeah, I know, because they love money. Still fucked up. I still fucking bought the game. It should work on at least my account. Like,
yeah, I feel you. If they had the ability to make, write a code on the disc that makes the disc unique, that would be doable. But I don't think there's a way to do that.
Yeah, it sounds like trying to find a workaround for this just makes it more complicated. Because the whole point of like going digital is to like reduce to make it more accessible, reduce complication, make everything easier. But like,
how with a lot of Blu-rays and 4K movies that come out,
they come with the code.
They come with the code for the ultraviolet or whatever streaming service, so you have it on multiple devices. I mean, they could theoretically go with that.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I feel like that would. The question seems like it was framed in such a way to imply that like the people who like collecting physical products still want something physical.
Yeah, I believe that is the question. Yeah.
And at that point, like, what's stopping you from just, if you really want something to put on your shelf, what's stopping you from just like buying a bunch of empty DVD cases and printing something else out, and where you have complete control over it, and just making that. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, if you're gonna make the decision to just go digital,
oh my god,
go digital.
What's up, Crispy?
I just realized we did a whole discussion about Halo and didn't even mention the grappling hook
or the flying grunt. That was the best part of the trailer. Was the flying grunt.
Oh, the flying grunt was fine, but there's a fucking grappling hook in the fucking game, and we didn't even talk about it, and it looks weird.
You know what's even better about the grappling hook, Chris, is that they released a second trailer afterwards that actually shows it in functioning with other things. Like, he grapples an enemy and then stabs him with the energy sword.
No, yeah, I mean, it looks like that's the only thing it's for, is like pulling stuff to him.
It's the meat hook from Doom Eternal.
Why didn't they just give him longer arms?
I figured you would at least be able to use it for traversal, especially if it's going.
I mean,
it is. That's part of what they're pitching. They say you use it for traversal.
Dude, okay, one of these games gave him a fucking jetpack.
Several games actually had jetpacks.
And we're back to fucking grappling hooks. I'm sorry. I just thought that was weird. And I thought we would talk about it, and we should probably...
I really wish Brad wouldn't have led that conversation so I could talk about Halo for 45 minutes.
In that case, I'm really glad Brad did lead that conversation.
My fuck you of the week goes to Nick and Brad.
Why don't we just use this as a transition into our 4-player minute?
That's too.
How does that sound?
Good
to me.
All right.
Sounds fucking great.
Brad usually starts us off. Brad's not here, obviously, so Crispy, you look uncomfortable. Why don't you go first?
Okay.
Crispy has that look like not me.
I don't know where we're going from here, but I'm gonna start with a fuck you this week. I actually have something to be pissed off about.
Yes.
Fuck you to the fucking Windows 10 App Store or whatever the fuck it's called. Okay, not only that, but also fuck you to the Windows 10 version of Deep Rock Galactic, which, yes, there is a different version on the Windows 10 store than there is on the Steam store. And the only difference between them is that the Deep Rock Galactic that you buy on the Steam store can cross-play with the Xbox. Oh my god, I confused myself again. The Windows 10 version of Deep Rock can crossplay with the Xbox One version, but the Steam version cannot crossplay with either of them. which is already really fucking dumb. And before you give me that, are you sure you didn't try this thing? Look it up, Chris Davis. It's true, and it's fucked up.
I'm not doubting you. I'm not doubting you.
And what's even worse than that is the reason why I was researching this is because I was looking for games for me and my friends to play, right? Me and my friend Ryan and my roommate Cam like to play games together, but we're getting kind of sick of like competitive multiplayer games because they just kind of like ruin our lives and make us hate each other. So we were looking for like fun co-op games, and I was like, I've been playing Deep Rock Galactic with the 4Player boys, and it's great, and I love it, and we should play Deep Rock Galactic. So we were trying to figure out how to do it, and we're like, okay, me and Ryan will play on computer, and Cam will play on my Xbox One, and then we'll all be able to play Deep Rock Galactic. It might mean I have to buy the game a couple more times, even though I already own it on Steam, but whatever, right? So me and Ryan buy Windows 10 versions of Deep Rock Galactic, and we can't even get our copies to fucking crossplay. Like, we can't even get into a game with each other, and we're both on Windows 10.
What the fuck?
Like, it is insane how bad it is. Just to get far enough to find that out, I had to navigate through the fucking Xbox app on Windows 10. I had to navigate through the Windows 10 store, and like all of it is terrible. It's bad and not well made at all. It's the worst user experience I've ever had.
The funny thing is I was actually trying to find, I can't remember what game it was. Something I had bought via the Microsoft Store, a Windows 10 game. It was easier for me to find it via GOG's beta client that they have. Yeah. They have a beta client that allows you to kind of source all your games
the GOG
in one
Galaxy.
place.
I have that.
Yeah, it was easier for me to find it via that than it was via Microsoft's app. That is ridiculous.
I don't understand why this thing exists if it's going to be that hostile to users.
Well, Chris, what I would say real quick is that I did a little research for it real fast. Gears 5, which is a first party Microsoft title, is crossplay in Steam. So maybe it's the developer.
No, Chris Davis. They all are, except for Deep Rock Galactic. I checked.
So it's the developer.
They all are. This is like the only game where this is an issue, and it's the one that I want to play with my friends. So we were we spent so much time trying to test it out and like make it work, and we were like, well, we need to stop playing. We need to stop fucking with this right now, because if we play anymore, we're not going to be able to return it and get a fucking refund and buy something else like Sea of Thieves. Like,
I love how Crispy during that whole thing was like, I'm gonna go out of my way to lean farther, get it as close to my microphone as possible when I lose my shit.
Hey Nick, at least he was recording.
It's true. At least he was recording. Was that?
I think that's my full player minute. I don't know. I think that's it. That's all I feel. No. I'm
it's your minute.
I'm gonna do like a half hype, half sweat for Halo Infinite, only because I did have a weird nostalgic feeling watching Halo Infinite of being like, oh man, like I used to be a Halo guy. Like that was my thing. The first 3 Halo games and Halo ODST, like when those were coming out, that was like my jam. Halo Reach, I played all the way. I think Halo Reach was the last Halo game that I played all the way through.
Mm-hmm.
And I liked it, but that was kind of where like I started to fall off. And like I fucking, I played Halo 4, didn't care. I played Halo 5, I couldn't get into them. And then watching this Halo Infinite thing, despite the fact that like it doesn't like everyone's had a lot to say about the graphics, and yeah, it looks weird that this is what they're leading with. But I still had that feeling of like, man, I used to really love Halo. And I want to get back there. Like, I want to go back. The thing that's making this kind of a little bit of a sweat for me is that like, I also realized that like, I think there's something about the way Bungie makes games and tells stories, or maybe I should say the way they used to, that is what I really miss. Like there used to be this like sense of like mysticism and melancholy to everything, and it was just like this weird tone for like a straight up like sci-fi game to have. And or like especially like a military sci-fi game, to have this like weird mysticism about it. And I really I like it. It felt like, as far as games go, it feels like home to me. And like this new one, I wasn't really getting that from it, but I was getting a lot of like, hey, we kind of want to go back there, you know?
Yeah.
And if they succeed in taking Halo back there, then I'll be into it, you know? Whether or not it's single or multiplayer, I'll be into it. But I don't know. Like there's so much about Halo is like a feeling to me, and I'm just worried.
It's weird to think that game is actually coming out this year.
Yeah, that is, wow. Yeah, that's a bigger sweat then, I guess.
It's cool. It's good to know though that I can count on playing it even if I don't end up getting a console though.
I mean,
Yeah.
It was day and date on PC. So
Yeah, well,
you say that you're kind of surprised it's coming out this year. I'm like, it's about fucking time it's coming out.
But I mean, you say it still doesn't even feel like we're getting new hardware this year because of the pandemic. But like, apparently, it's still happening. It's weird. It's weird to think about.
I'm thinking long,
especially considering these consoles are going to launch probably when this pandemic is at its absolute worst, in the fucking middle of winter.
Yeah. In the States,
right.
Other countries will be COVID free.
Yeah. Right. Nolan, you want to go next?
Let's do it. My 4-player minute starts now.
I'm
Oh,
I'm officially rescinding my thank you for this week to Nolan. Nolan, you may take your 4-player minute now.
Thank you, Crispy. My first hype is for State of Decay 3. I really love the first one. I fell off on the second one. In all honesty, I don't know if I will ever go back to it. I owned it on the Windows Store. It's probably one reason. But secondly, it's just that bad sour taste is left in my mouth, and I don't know if I can get rid of it. But hopefully 3 will.
Now they have a chance to win you over again.
Yes.
Hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully. My sweat is going to go to Paper Mario. While I am enjoying it, I'm having some frustrations with it, and I'm hoping those frustrations get alleviated. Maybe I just need to maybe if I play a little more. It's one of those things where it's a Nintendo game, so I'm never really sure if I'm still in like the tutorial or if the entire game's going to feel like a tutorial. I don't know. We'll see. I definitely plan on playing more. It is difficult though, because sometimes I just want to let Bernadette have the Switch because she likes Animal Crossing, and I want her to play that. And also I just really want to be playing Ghost of Tsushima. That's the real answer.
You play this. I'm going to be over here playing Ghost of Tsushima.
Yeah. My fuck you is going to go to myself for my mistakes in Ghost of Tsushima. I did not realize that I was kind of fucking over myself when I chose those settings in the game to like turn the holds to clicks and stuff like that. Hopefully, if I can revert that, I maybe will have a better experience. We'll see. And then my hype / kind of sweat, because I'm not going to be playing as many video games this weekend, is going to go to Master Pancake Christmas in July. I am super fucking excited. Tomorrow, Christmas Eve in July, is Die Hard, followed by Harry Potter, double feature. Saturday is a Christmas show.
Not allowed to watch Harry Potter anymore.
You shut your mouth.
Oh, yeah. You're not allowed
I'm
to
reading
watch
Order of the
making
Phoenix
fun
right
of
now.
it.
Huh? Oh, you're right. Fair game.
Yeah. Saturday is the Christmas show, followed by Batman Returns. So this fucking weekend is going to be me watching 4 Master Pancakes. So I know, chat, y'all have heard us talk about Master Pancake before. It's an Austin thing, similar to Mystery Science Theater, but now's your chance to, obviously it's not going to be the exact same experience as being there, but it's completely free on Twitch. Y'all can check them out. If y'all like them, y'all can send them some donations to help them out, just because they're not getting anything while theaters are closed and stuff. But I have never not watched a Master Pancake and had like an amazing experience.
Yeah, that checks out. I actually do want to take my thank you right now, and I want to say thank you to the people in the community who have been following me on my journey of rewatching the original Mobile Suit Gundam. who've been joining along with me. It's been a lot of fun, and there's a few of you out there, and like it's great. I'm glad that people are like watching the show. It's really like I'm watching again. And I'm like, it's a kid show from the '70s, and it kind of feels like that in some ways. But there's so much about it that's like, wow, this is really good. Like, why is this so good?
Are you gonna watch Macross?
Amuro. Yeah. Well, I think so. Whenever
I mean, it was pretty much the first primary competitor to Gundam, and it's a storied franchise.
I mean, actually, yeah. I think it's
I'm making the decision right now.
We're dragging this down, but it's on my list.
Okay.
All right. Well, that's my 4-player minute.
All right, Chris Davis. It's all you now.
My first hype is for Halo Infinite, because holy damn, that demonstration to me looked pretty much exactly like what I wanted out of Infinite. The grappling hook looks like a very fun gameplay mechanic. The weapons looked fun. The classic kind of Halo hidden humor formula of the grunts and the translations of the Covenant, like it was right on there. Like I busted a gut laughing when I saw that brute throw that suicide grenade holding grunt at you. He fucking picks him up and just fucking punts him at you. It's hilarious. My second hype, I'm just glad that Fable's back, man. Like, no matter what form they come at it with it, as long as it's not a fucking Connect game or some kind of mini game collection,
I'm
optimistic about what it could be. And I think like what people are kind of secretly talking about, where it's MMO light, doesn't harm it, doesn't take away from it potentially being a deep story-based RPG. That being said, my fuck you of the week goes out to all those people who just see the word multiplayer attached to a title and immediately opt out. Because
bitch, I'm right here. I can hear you.
Well, I know, Nick.
He's literally just talking to you, Nick.
Yeah.
So you're
but
saying
not just Nick. Like there's
fuck
a
you
bunch
goes
of
to
people
Nick.
that like
shots
not
fired,
right, man. You're missing out on so many great gameplay experiences because it happens to involve another person.
That's okay. Whoa.
Yeah,
I've explained myself. It has nothing to do with experiencing with other people.
Yes, you have. It's fair.
Oh my god.
I'll still think you're wrong, but it's okay.
That's okay. I think you're wrong a lot too.
Yeah, I know. And I have a sweat this week. One of my secret like begging to actually happen things with this Microsoft presentation or anything that's gone on this summer. All the presentations have been going on. I have been secretly hoping with every single presentation that we would actually find out what the fuck Ken Levine is working on.
Oh.
He has been teasing for years the concept of a sci-fi game with procedurally generated narrative that's infinitely replayable and unique across every single person's playthrough. And that sounds like an incredible concept. He's been teasing it for years. It is now been 6 years since BioShock Infinite, and we still we don't know what he's talking about. So
I mean,
like
a lot of what we're seeing right now is focused on like getting ready to launch 2 new pieces of hardware, and maybe that's just not something that he's anticipating as being like in or around a launch window. So maybe once we get through
I'm
launch,
just thinking that this would have been the perfect time because you again, like you said, there's new hardware coming. It's time to show off what the next generation is capable of, and why not show off?
Maybe the project's not coming together the way he hoped it would. It does sound ambitious.
It sounds incredible. You should really watch his GDC talk. It was what he's pitching is one of the most amazing things I think anybody's done in the past 20 years. So
well, that's exciting.
Okay, and that's it for me.
That was it. That was your whole 4-player minute.
Yeah, I gave all 4.
All right. My hype goes to Ghost of Tsushima. I just want to get back to it. I've been kind of letting I still have played like close to 20 hours of it, so I've definitely played a ton of it. But I'm still exploring that first area, and I'm eager to see more of it, and kind of because I can't even believe the amount of like beautiful shit that is just in that one area alone.
Dude,
And,
the first time you get to like the Golden Forest, have you done any of the missions that are like follow the flower kind of type stuff?
No.
There's some like tails or whatever side things that are like, oh,
It's
one of those
yeah. The purple
where
flowers.
it doesn't, like it doesn't give you like a dot on the map. It's like, hey, you just got to find this place.
That's what I love the most. And I didn't bring it up, but like there's one of those missions that I thought was so cool, and I was like, please tell me if I open the map, there's not going to be a marker in the map telling me where I should be looking. And I opened the map, and there was a big marker where I should be looking, and I was like, that's not. Just give me the visual hints, give me the little map. I can kind of like the little like. The
Is that the one that it gives you like a big area?
Yeah, like well, it's like find the white tree, right? And I'm on this big hill, and it's like look for the white leaves, and I'm like looking around, and I see a tree kind of poking up over a mountaintop that has like white. I was like, oh, it's probably up there, so I kind of knew which direction I was going. But I was like, please tell me if I open up my map, it's not going to just have this big circle. It's like somewhere
here.
you
can just select a different mission.
Yeah,
and
that
marker won't be there then.
You're right.
You can still go do it.
They seem like they want to like trust you to find it on your own, but they just like in case. So I'm like trying to resist opening the menu at all costs if I can. But like that stuff's really cool. But like there's just so much stuff in that game that's so beautiful that I just and like everything, the sound design in that game is so good. Like everything is so for an action game, it's so fucking zen. Like it's just so chill.
I
fucking
really
love
wish
that.
y'all were much further along than you are.
Well, Chris Davis.
Well, sorry, Chris Davis.
Let me tell you my fuck you for the week, which is 1, you, and 2,
whoa,
Desperados 3, which I also love. That game is fucking amazing. But specifically, fuck you to the level designers in that game because they are some devious motherfuckers. I finished the second to last mission in Desperados 3 today, and it only took me 3 hours and 11 minutes. And the entire time, like every step of the way, I'm just like, this isn't possible. This isn't possible. You can't do it. But the amazing thing is that the entire time I'm doing it, like I have to keep thinking about the game in new ways and thinking about different ways to use the characters in creative ways. And I like blow my mind every single time when I pull shit off.
It's amazing. A great feeling.
But man, that's some devious shit, guys. Like it's fucked up. Fuck you guys. My first sweat goes to Fable for maybe being a multiplayer game. You punk ass. Brad kind of hit the nail on the head a while ago. I have very just nostalgic memories of playing the original Fable, and I want that feeling. Like Crispy said with Halo, the first Halo, kind of feeling like home. That's kind of what I want Fable to be.
Fuck.
And I just hope that it can still do that if it goes the direction that it sounds like it's going. My second sweat goes to both of the Ubisoft reveals, Far Cry 6, and they finally did a kind of an in-depth demonstration of Watch Dogs Legion, which Watch Dogs Legion looks to be coming together a lot better than I was expecting. And it looks ambitious and exciting, but I've also heard people who have gotten hands-on with it saying it's not as rewarding as they first thought.
I'm really worried that we're going to run into the limits very quickly in the game of what it's capable of.
I think you might be right. I don't know, but I hope that game surprises me because I have not really been on board for it until that recent showing. Far Cry 6, I'm just a little they didn't really show any gameplay. There's been some screenshots out there which look really nice. I'm just not necessarily a huge fan of the setting that they went with. Maybe they can surprise me. I don't know. And Far Cry 5 was such a divisive entry in the series. I want 6 to be impressive, and I want it to be more than just more Far Cry. And far they haven't really shown anything to make me think it's going to be. But we haven't really seen a lot of it yet either. So Who the fuck knows?
Divisive is a very kind word to use to describe Far Cry 5.
Well, I know
It's not
you
the
hate it with a
adjective I would
fiery fucking
use.
passion. I didn't hate it that much. I just know that everybody thinks the ending sucks, and I tend to agree. It's terrible. But like,
Oh, it's not just the ending. There's tons of terrible
I know,
shit
but
in that game.
your vitriol for that game is strange.
It's justified.
Fair enough. Anyways.
Yeah, I'm with Chris. That game really blows.
All right, fair enough. I stand corrected. I enjoyed that game right up until the very end, and then the ending just fucking shit the bed. And I do. There were other problems I had with it. It didn't even make my top 10 that year, if that tells you anything. And I usually put the Far Cry games somewhere in my top 10, so that should tell you something about my enjoyment.
Hold
of
on,
the game.
let me say something to Dave DeZombie. Far Cry 5 had horrible co-op. The fact that only one person made story progress when you were playing co-op is fucking bullshit. Because you know what? In 4, you could both play the main story games and both
You're
make
right.
progress. So they took a
Preach.
fucking step back in 5.
You're
And that
right.
was fucking bullshit. Because you know what? Me and Jaeger played a shit ton of Far Cry 4 together in co-op, and it was fantastic. I played the tiniest bit. I think Eric, I played some Eric 93. I played some Far Cry 5 with him co-op, but the fact that only one of us was making progress made it seem like we were wasting the other person's time.
I only remember playing the co-op in Far Cry 5 because I went eagle hunting with Joseph out of a helicopter, and that was fun. But yeah, we didn't do much of the story for that exact reason. You know what? Far Cry 5, admittedly, bit of a mess. Okay, bit of a mess. I hope Far Cry 6 is a huge improvement, and that's why I'm worried about it. There, we got it out. That's my 4-player minute, and that's our show, guys.
Thank God.
it's been a lot of peaks and valleys in this show, guys. It's very emotional. I don't know how to feel right now.
I fucking hate you guys.
I hate you too.
All right.
I'll talk to you tomorrow.
Uh,
Anyway, thank you guys so much for listening. 4playernetwork.com is, of course, the website. Quick, wanted to pimp real quick because I did not mention it yet on Twitter or anything, but we did record our Revival Club podcast for Sleeping Dogs, and I had a nice conversation with 3 community members, including Chai Tai, Scud, and Steve. So that was a really nice Steve, or Finding 404. He's in chat. So I got that podcast edited and recorded. It's out there. Nice conversation about a game that I think is pretty underrated, or maybe kind of a Jimmy of the PlayStation 3 era. So check it out. Join us next week. Again, our next week's show is going to be totally different. It's going to be a spoiler cast for The Last of Us Part 2. We're going to bring our hot takes, I guess. It's going to be interesting.
And we've got a special thing coming out pretty soon.
Are you talking about my video?
I mean,
top
if
10
you wanna talk about
backpacks in video games, right?
I really want Crispy to make this top 10
Top
backpacks in video
10
games.
backpacks in video games. It'll be the best top 10 video about video games you've ever seen in your whole fucking life. You won't even know what to do with yourself after it.
What if you wrote haikus about this?
It's tremendous.
Seriously, guys. Send Crispy all of your encouragement on Twitter and in Discord to get him to make this video.
Send me pictures of your favorite backpacks from video games.
Yes, please do.
And know that I interpret that term very liberally.
So
it could be
tweet
a
ahead.
purse. It could be a briefcase, you know?
Or it could have a bird in it. At Inspector Chris, if you want to find him on Twitter, send him your backpacks or video game backpacks. Don't send him an actual picture of your backpack, because that would be
Actually, do that too. Do that too
if you really want. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for listening. We'll catch you guys next week for our spoiler cast. I just realized it's going to be 2 weeks before we get a chance to talk about Ghost of Tsushima again, and by then we will all played a bunch more, and it'll be just as hectic when we talk about it again. Woo! So, anyways, until next time, guys, be safe. Have a good night. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.